Okay, all right.
Live from DeVere Fair Stadium at Decatur Central High School, it is Indiana High School football as the 4-3 Decatur Central High School Hawks take on the 4-3 Roncalli High School Rebels. Good evening, I'm JP Sinclair along with Lex Zorn, and this is the Audio Sports Online pregame. Decatur is coming off a victory where quarterback Tommy Stevens passed for 188 yards and 4 touchdowns to spark the Class 5A Hawks to a Mid-State Conference road victory over the Greenwood Woodmen.
Yeah, indeed he did. I was at that game, and also Eli Conlon had another big game. He's been huge all season, and really what we saw last week was a microcosm of really the last 4 games. Of course, Decatur Central started off the season 0-3. They had an extraordinary offense, but they really struggled on defense. Starting with Martinsville at Lucas Oil Stadium in Week 4, Decatur Central really cranked up the defensive intensity, and it's dramatically changed their game plan. Tommy Stevens, he's a great runner but an average passer. The first 3 games, the Hawks were playing from behind most of the time. He averaged 23 passes a game. The last 4 games, which they won, he's averaged only 10.5 passes a game. In fact, even had a game at Mooresville 3 weeks ago in which he did not even complete a pass. He was 0 for 6, and the Hawks still won 55-14. So as long as they keep playing from ahead like they have the last 4 weeks, that greatly pushes the game in their favor as they're able to rely more on their outstanding rushing offense than their average passing offense.
Well, he talked about having that high-scoring offense, trying to get out ahead. So far, this Decatur Central Hawks team has not had a problem doing that at all this year, averaging close to 55 points per game while giving up only 41 points per game. We talked about Stevens a little bit. He hit 6 of 17 passes with 2 interceptions in that victory. Decatur Central's running back Eli Conlon continues to be the workhorse for them. He led that ground attack with 14 carries and 146 yards and 2 touchdowns. Pretty much standard numbers for him so far on the season, Lek.
Yeah, Conlon has just had an outstanding season. He's rushed 131 times for 1,223 yards and 16 touchdowns. Also 5 receptions for 140 yards and 2 touchdowns. So that's 18 touchdowns through the first 7 games. That's a little over 2.5 a game. And, like I said, Conlon entered the season relatively unheralded because he backed up last season the great Jordan Jackson, who's now playing down the road at Indiana State. But Conlon's turned a lot of heads this year, and you can bet he's going to be playing on Saturdays a year from now at a pretty good school.
Conlon also contributed 2 pass receptions for 55 yards in that victory, including a touchdown receiving. For Roncalli, they're coming off a loss against Martinsville, which saw the final score 42-21. It was a game that ended their 3-game winning streak. After jumping ahead 14 early, the Rebels were held scoreless for the remainder of the game. So that's something that Decatur hopes to do early, jump out early and try and hold them down.
Yeah, jump out early, hold off on the passing for the most part, just rush, and rush some more. keep the ball in bounds, keep the clock and the chains moving. You know, going back to week 3 when I covered the Hawks down at Martinsville, they got off to an 8-0 lead, but then their defense was shaky. Whiteland ran off 29 points in a row, taking a 29-8 lead, so the Hawks had to play catch-up the rest of the game. Stevens had to go to the air a lot, which is not his most comfortable game plan, and the Hawks ended up falling by 3 in that game, 50-47. But, yeah, if they get off to an early lead, that's the key. And Roncalli, though they enter the game with an identical record to Decatur Central at 4-3, it should be noted that they've had an extraordinarily tough schedule. In fact, their opponents' records is actually the 3rd toughest in the entire state. So they obviously, they're an independent team, so they have a lot of flexibility in the scheduling, and they do not shy away from the tough opponents. You look at their opponents this year, Bishop Chittard, Brebeuf Jesuit. Those are both perennial powers, and Cecina, Plainfield, Southport, also solid programs. So, and then it should be noted that the Rebels also enter the game ranked number 8 in Class 4A and are an 8-time state champion.
Yeah, they got to that tough start off, as you talked about, Southport being one of the big powerhouses so far earlier this year, trying to get the respect they deserve before this draw time. 16-21 was the final score for Southport over Roncalli in that very first game, and it's been kind of a tough season for them. Cathedral also, strength of schedule matters when it comes to these drawings. That's something that they look for. The Roncalli Rebels lead the all-time series between these two schools 5-2. The first ever matchup was back in 2006. Last season saw the Rebels win at Roncalli over the Hawks 21-6. It was a game that saw senior defensive back Brant Goss picking off 3 passes for Roncalli, one of which was returned for a touchdown, and he continues to be a player that is going to be a force in this Rebel secondary today.
Yeah, and this really, this is a great rivalry. These schools separated by just 10 miles here in southern Indianapolis. And that's one great thing about the Mid-State Conference having only 7 teams. It means you have room for 3 non-conference games on the schedule, as opposed to like the Hoosier Crossroads Conference. They've been having a 10-team league. So there's no flexibility in the scheduling. It's just your 9 conference rivals. And now with there are the 3 Tippecanoe County schools leaving at the end of the season. That'll open up a lot of non-conference games, and so this is such a natural rivalry here between these two schools. They're both very solid programs here, just a few miles apart, and it's great they're both entering tonight's game, both ranked in the top 10.
We'll take a quick look at the weather for tonight's upcoming game. Temperatures are supposed to be around 70 degrees tonight here at 7 o'clock. Sunny, 0% chance of rain, wind south-southeast at 5 miles per hour. And temp can drop down a little bit to about 63 degrees tonight, but all in all, going to be a great night for Friday high school football.
Well, it sure will, and I'll tell you, this is my second season in commentary, and compared to last year, the weather we've gotten this year has just been tremendous. Now, we did have the lightning postponement in a lot of games back in week 2, where I was commentating Zionsville at Lafayette McCutcheon, but most of the games it's been really nice. I haven't had to wear a jacket or even a sweatshirt all year, and to be in the next to last week of the season. Usually we have good weather for about the first 3 or 4 weeks of the season, so to get up to the next to last game of the regular season and be sitting here in the press box, both of us wearing short sleeve shirts, that's just great. And now we'll take a pause for the national anthem.
Performed by Decatur Central High School Marching Band under the direction of Mr. Tim Cox, Director of Bands.
Welcome back to Decatur Central High School. I'm JP Sinclair along with Lex Zorn as we continue to get set for tonight's matchup against Roncalli for Decatur Central. Offensively, this game's going to come down to Tommy Stevens, as we talked about a little bit earlier. If he can protect the football and keep it away from this dangerous Rebel secondary and look them off with pass fakes and get them close to the line of scrimmage, it'll go a long way for this team later on in the game.
Yeah, and one thing about Tommy Stevens, while he's only an average passer, he does not he makes you beat him. He does not give games away. This season, you mentioned he had the 2 interceptions last week at Greenwood. Those were only number 2 and 3 on the season. He's not the best passer, but he's a very smart player. He doesn't take many unnecessary risks, and he's also quite a rusher in his own right. He's rushed 66 times this year, 573 yards, 7 touchdowns through the air, 56. He's completed 56 of 111 passes, just over 50%, 1,025 yards, 11 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. So anytime you have at least a 1.5 to 1 touchdown interception ratio, you're doing pretty good. He's up nearly 4 to 1. That's a testament to what a smart player he is.
Taking also a look at what they're going to have to look at defensively for the Hawks, they're going to have to contain junior running back Colin McNamara and also senior running back David Holtkamp. While McNamara is going to be their go-to running back, Holtkamp is very tricky due to his excellent receiving ability. He leads the Rebels with 20 receptions this season, all from the backfield. So the Hawks will have to do a great job keying in on him defensively.
Yeah, McNamara is the team's leading rusher. In fact, by far, he has roughly 3 times the rushing yards of his next closest competitor. He's rushed the ball 129 times this season for 719 yards, nearly 6 yards a carry, 8 touchdowns. Also through the air, 7 receptions for 66 yards, 7 receptions for 66 yards, nearly 10 a catch. So he's quite a versatile player. He's junior, 5'11", 185. So and he's got a year to improve. So as good as he's been this year, he's really, as if he keeps working hard, he'll be quite a solid college prospect a year from now as a senior.
Well, as we get set for the Decatur Central Hawks take a field, it is getting close to turning time. The 41st Annual Indiana High School Athletic Association State Football Tournament is less than 3 weeks away, even though it seems like the season just got started. Pairings will be announced this Sunday night. The tournament will begin October 25th. The selection show will be this Sunday on Fox Sports Indiana, so that's definitely something to keep in mind as we get set for pairings.
I'll tell you, what you said, it's hard to believe we're into week 8 already, Time flies when you're having fun. This has been such a blast. It's just great to see the way that high school football has grown here in Indiana in my lifetime. And Decatur Central will be playing in Sectional 13. It's one of only 2 5-team sectionals here in Class 5A. Most of the teams in Class 5A and all of the teams in the newly created Class 6A will get a first-round bye. But 2 teams in this sectional will have to play the usual 3 rather than 2 games to win the sectional, or 6 rather than the usual 5 to win the state championship. The other 4 teams in this sectional are Richmond, Zionsville, Cathedral, and Anderson. And, of course, Zionsville has been in the top 10, even in the top 5 at times this season. And Cathedral, they're always a power, And Cathedral usually is about as good as, most of the teams in the top class, Class 6A.
Cathedral's one of those interesting teams. We talked about the strength of schedule earlier. They don't even have a winning record yet. Because of how tough their opponents have been, a lot of them even out of state, it's got them up there in those rankings as we get set for the selection show.
Yeah, and I think that's the case with a lot of schools here in the Indianapolis metro area. I'm not trying to put down, the other schools in the state, but once you get outside of Indianapolis, and then to a lesser extent Fort Wayne and Evansville, you don't have the concentration of talent. So you take a lot of these teams here in Indianapolis that are 4-3, even 3-4, and you put them a lot of places in the state, and they'd be 5-2, 6-1, maybe even 7-0.
Okay, well, let's take a moment and take a look at our starters for tonight's game. For the Decatur Central Hawks, they're coached by Justin Dixon. He's in his 5th season. So far, a 4-3 record on the year for the Hawks. Their offensive line will be Lucas McNeil. He's a load on that left side, 6'7", 272 senior. John Day also will be joining him on that line, as well as Luke Gregory at center. The right guard will be John Sidwell, and the right tackle will be Austin Osborne. Taking a look, we talked a little bit about it during the pregame. Quarterback for this Decatur Central Hawk team will be Tommy Stevens, a 6'4", 190 junior, and also his receiving core is going to include Aaron Sandy and Riker Stout. Connor Ray will also see time at the wide receiver spot sparingly. We talked a little bit also about Eli Conlon. He's the workhorse for this Decatur Central Hawk offense running game. The 5'10", 180 senior has 131 rushing attempts on the season for 1,222 yards and 16 touchdowns. He's close to 9 yards per attempt and almost 175 yards per game. Also getting time back there in the backfield will be Dakota Sidwell and Cameron Evans. Defensively for the Hawks, we'll see a little bit of a rotation game. Lucas McNeil, who also plays offense, will be playing defense, as well as Dean Thomas and John Day. Austin Osborne, Jacob Scott, and Ethan Hargis will also get time on that defensive front. The linebacker core in this 4-3 defense, the 3-4 defense for the Hawks, Zach Muniz, John Sidwell, and Brian Wells and Cameron Evans from left to right. So they're definitely part of that 3-4 defense that this Rebel team's going to have to look out for. In the secondary, Devin Toms will be joined by Jack Weldon, Daniel Malloy, and Jalen Miller. For the Rebels offensively, they're coached by Bruce Skipes. As we talked about, they're a 4A independent team. He is 213-76 during his time here for the Roncalli Rebels with 6 state championships. So quite a pedigree coming into the night for Coach Skipes.
Well, now the Roncalli Rebels are entering the field of play, and they have quite a contingency of their own, several hundred fans there across the stadium who made the trip 10 miles from the south central part of the city. Say we have in the neighborhood of 2,500 to 3,000 fans here on this perfect night. You know, one thing I've noticed was, of course, this is only my second year of commentary, but I've been attending high school ball for many years. I've noticed that usually the attendance from about week 5 on really pares down. We usually get great crowds the first 3 or 4 weeks under the great weather. Then it gets down to maybe, half the early season level or less when temperatures turn cold. So it's great to see this nice crowd taking advantage of the great weather. And I just checked the 10-day forecast yesterday on weather.com. The high for a week from tonight for the last game of the regular season still supposed to be in the low 60s, so that's fairly nice too.
Yeah, definitely can't complain about the weather we've been receiving. Hopefully it stays this way as we move further into fall. As we get set for the coin flip, Roncalli's offensive line will be Cal Scribes, Mike Mullen, Luke Jonke, Brian Sullivan, and Hank Kessel from left to right. The quarterback will be Camp Smock, a 6'3", 191 senior. He's 44 of 75 on the year with 572 yards, 5 touchdowns, and 2 interceptions throwing. Aaron Schnell will see time as the wide receiver, as well as David Schott. Tight end will be David Annie, and also the main running back, Colin McNamara. The Roncalli defensive line is a 4-3 defense. Nick New, Nick Keller, Jordan Sinkhorn, and Bryce Rohrman will be on that defensive front for this Rebel team. Joe Swan, Aaron Schnell, and Evan Cahill will make up the linebacker core. And in the secondary, Justin Saylor, Brant Goss, the 5'9", 171 senior, Nate Oatley, and also Drew Novomich, a 5'11", 213 junior. So as we get set for kickoff, it looks like the Decatur Central Hawks will be kicking off to the Rebels to start this game.
Yes, Abdi Sow set to kick off for the Hawks, showing what an unconventional team the Hawks are. He actually, believe it or not, has not attempted a field goal all season. He is 18 for 20 on extra points. But I'd say he has an average leg. He usually gets his kicks usually from about the 15 to the 10. And so now we're ready to start here.
David Holkep and Matt Brown back deep to receive for the Rebels. So set to kick off. Holkep did have a punt return last week. He's a very dangerous returner, and the kick's away. It's fielded by Matt Brown at about the 10. He takes it out, glitch to the left side. He's got room to run. He's now at the 40, gets a little tripped up, pushes off, and a stiff arm, still on his feet, and he will get all the way down to about the 54, of Decatur Central. So that was a great run back and sets the Rebels up offensively in great field position.
Indeed it is, and that's important. What Roncalli's got to be thinking about doing is main thing is just getting the score, here. Force the Hawks to play from behind. And so now we'll see we'll get our first look at Cam Smock and the rest of the Rebel offense here.
Tight formation, really a jumbo formation. 2 receivers to the right, 1 running back behind Smock, and he will get it on the pitch out, and he'll get maybe 2 or 3. Actually, just gets it right back to close to the line of scrimmage. Maybe lost a yard there. Got the ball back in the backfield. Didn't have much room to work with.
So that's a great first play for the Hawks defense. They stopped McNamara, the team's leading receiver. They stopped him for a 2-yard loss, and that gives them some early confidence that they can really keep this team contained. 2nd
11, ball on the Decatur 45. This time Smock in the shotgun, 3 receiver bunch set to the left side. Smock gets it, looks for the receiver on the left side. That's David Holtkamp, and he tried to get it on the screen, but absolutely got nowhere to go, and that'll push the Rebels back once again.
So this is a perfect start for the Hawks. 2 plays, 1 reception, 1 rush, 1 pass, 2 losses of yardage. So they already they've recovered from that long kickoff return. Already have the Rebels 3rd and long, just the position they want to be in.
So despite the long kick return, it is 3 and 15. Ball on the Decatur 48. Smock in the shotgun. 2 receivers to the right. He rolls out looking for someone downfield, and he has his man. I don't think he's going to get close to the
he's going
line.
to be.
David Schnott was the receiver on that.
5 yards short.
So based on the spot, it will be 4th and 5. We'll see what the Rebels elect to do.
Yeah, Tommy Stevens, the starting quarterback, was in on that stop there of that reception by David Schott, good for 11 yards. And that's one thing I love about high school ball that you really don't see in the pros or even much in college, because you got a lot of guys playing both sides of the ball.
Both sides of the ball, and you also see them go for it on 2-point conversions like Decatur does a lot, and also 4th down just like they're doing right here. Yep. Jumbo set, one wide receiver to the right, Schnott in the pistol, rolls to the left and looks to option it out, and that ball is down. Actually, that ball is live because that ball was thrown in the backs.
That's appropriate because he's going to be handling the ball on the next play.
Correct. Stevens had that on the fumble recovery, and will be about Decatur Central ball on, call it the 26.
Well, the Hawks, now we'll get our first look at the Hawks offense. So basically, that long kickoff return ended up being for naught. It didn't end up harming Decatur Central. Now they take over, outstanding field position, although it looks like it's not quite as outstanding as I thought. It looks like there's going to be, I guess we both missed the flag.
I don't think there was a flag so much on the play.
Or did they say he was down?
It was just going to be down by contact at where he recovered it on the pitch out. The option play that
You're
failed.
Right, yeah. I was going to say, it's unlikely both of us would have missed a flag. But nevertheless, Tommy Stevens, great fumble recovery, and now he's about to show us he's shown us what he can do on defense. Now it's time to show us what he can do on offense. But that's a heck of a start for a starting quarterback. He gets a tackle and a fumble recovery before he even takes his first snap.
I'm not really too sure what the call was on the field.
Oh, wait,
they're saying a timeout
before
call.
The play.
That's different. Not something you see every day. That's a good break if you're a Roncalli Rebel fan. But either way, timeout on the field, it'll be 4th and 5.
Yeah, that really is. So, yeah, that would have been great for Stevens, though. To get a fumble recovery before he takes his first snap. But now, so instead it will be 4th, and they're saying 4th and 5 there at the 38.
So it'll be as if the play never happened. It'll be 4th and 5 on the Decatur 38-yard line. Pretty much the same set as they did on the fumble. I formation, one receiver to the right in tight. Motion man goes to the left. That's David Schott. and pitch out, and it's actually going to be a punt, and that one will hit at about the 10-yard line and roll and get close to about the 4, so that's where Decatur Central will get it.
Well, by the luck of the whistle, the Rebels avoided a potential disaster, and they've got the Hawks defense backed up, down to the 4, although it should be noted that Eli Conlon's longest play from scrimmage so far in his illustrious career, a 96-yard touchdown reception last year at Plainfield, which I had the pleasure of calling. It was actually just on a screen pass where it looked like he was going to be stopped for a short gain. He broke through and ran all the way.
9:29 left to go in the first quarter, nothing all. Tie so far. Tommy Stevens goes under center. He's got 3 receivers out, and the quick handoff goes to Conlon up the middle, and he'll get 1 maybe before he's brought down. Tackle on that play was Joe Swan, the 6'2", 207 junior for the Rebels.
Yeah, you can tell the Rebels were ready for Conlon. They know his history, and they're they all rushed over to him. So they're giving him credit for 2 yards, so it'll be 2nd and 8 at the 6.
2nd and 8 at the 6. Clock continues to run. 9 minutes left to go in the first quarter. 2 receivers to the right, 1 to the left. Aaron Sandy to the left, and it looks like Riker Stout wide to the right. Stevens under center finds his man Stout on the right side, and he'll get close to the first down before he's pushed out. So that's exactly what Decatur wanted to do and try and get away from this bad field position to start. Looks like he is going to be marked down just short of the first down.
Let's see where they mark him here. Oh, they are giving him credit for the first. Riker Stout, the team's leading receiver on the year, by the way. 27 receptions, 432 yards, 6 touchdowns. Got 8 yards on his first reception tonight.
Wishbone formation, Tommy Stevens under center, 2 receivers to the left. Motion man's Dakota Sidwell from right to left. Handoff goes up the middle. That is Cameron Evans on the carry. He gets 1 or 2 before he's brought down. Tackle made that time by Evan Cahill for the Rebels. So that'll bring out, call it 2nd and 8 on the 16-yard line.
Yeah, Cameron Evans doesn't get a lot of press because he's in the shadow of Conlon, but he's actually a very strong running back in his own right, having a very good season. 37 rushes for 284 yards and 5 touchdowns on the season.
Going wide to the left is Aaron Sandy. Wide to the right, Riker Stout. Tommy Stevens once again in the wishbone under center. Motion man is Sidwell. Handoff goes up the middle to Conlon, and he gets hit almost immediately. Got maybe a yard. Tackle made that time by Nate Oley.
Yeah, so they're definitely ready for Conlon. 2 yards his first rush. Looks like they're going to give him credit for another 2 that time, so that'll bring up 3rd and 6.
So it'll be 3rd and 6, ball on the 19 for the Decatur Central Hawks.
But Conlon, he's patient. He lets the game come to him. He doesn't force things. He waits to see his opening, and he takes advantage of it when he gets it.
Aaron Sandy wide to the left, Riker Stout wide to the right. Once again, bunch formation in the backfield. Stevens looks to throw, finds his man Stout, and that'll be good enough for the first down as he got called a 12 on the play, enough to move the chains, and it will be 1st and 10 on the 34-yard line.
Well, Stevens completed his first 2 passes. That's a good jolt of confidence for him. So Riker Stout has both of the receptions now. 22 yards so far over 2 receptions, bringing up 1st and 10 at the Decatur Central 33.
2 receivers to the right side, once again in the I formation. Stevens under center. Fakes the handoff, looks to throw. Looking, not finding anything, rolls to the left, gets to the 30, still not finding anything, trying to get outside, and he'll get to about the 39 before he's pushed out by number 24, Aaron Schnell.
Yeah, the Hawks have 4 rushers who are averaging more than 4 yards a rush on the season, including Stevens, who's actually averaging close to 9. So that'll be on his first keeper of the game, 7 yards there for Tommy Stevens.
2nd and 4, ball on the 39-yard line. 6:56 left to go in the first quarter. Stevens looks to go under center. 2 receivers to the right, 1 to the left. Cameron Evans in the slot. Handoff goes up the middle to Conlon. Conlon trying to plow ahead. Gets about 5 or 6 carrying defenders with him, and that'll be close to the first down. We'll see exactly where they spot it.
Yeah, Eli Conlon over 1,200 yards on the season, but that's only part of the story. I bet he has more than half of those yards after contact. He's a very, very tough guy.
So the ball will be placed on the 44 for Decatur, and that'll be enough to move the chains, first down. So far, very methodical offensive approach for Decatur here early.
Well, it's played nearly half of a quarter, still no score yet, but you can bet that will change before the night is through. Both of these teams, especially the Hawks, have a tendency to light up the scoreboard.
Stevens looks to throw, finds his man at the 50, and that would be Riker Stout. Makes a man miss, and he will be tripped up at about the 43, the 37, for the Rebels, and that'll be another first down. So far, Stout making his presence felt early as he has been the recipient of a couple of Tommy Stevens throws.
Yeah, great start to the offense for the Hawks. Now have 19 yards on that pass from Stevens to Stout. Stevens 3 for 3 after going 6 for 17 last week. That's a very good start. And on all 3 of the completions, Stout stayed in bounds to keep the clock and the chains moving.
Stout wide to the right, wide to the left is Aaron Sandy. Bunch formation in the backfield. Dakota Sidwell, the motion man. Handoff goes to Cameron Evans up the middle, and he'll get about 3 before he's pushed back. Tackled by a host of Rebel defenders. Too many to pinpoint just one. But it'll be enough for a 3-yard gain, and that'll bring out 2nd and 7.
Yeah, Evans is pretty good size, 5'11", 212, so he's got a lot of power. And so they're giving him credit for 4. He had 3 on his first carry. So 7 rushing yards really for Cameron Evans, although the most prolific player so far, Riker Stout, 3 receptions, 41 yards, all on this first possession.
Connor Ray now in, wide to the left, Riker Stout wide to the right. Once again, bunch formation. Sidwell, the motion man. Handoff goes up the middle of Conlon, cuts it back to the left side. Looks like he lost the ball, and it is live and picked up by a Rebel defender. And that would be Schnell, and he'll get it at the 30. So it'll go right back to the Rebels after such a good offensive drive from Decatur getting stalled right there.
I'll tell you, I think that's the first time I've ever seen Conlon fumble. He's a very strong fundamental player, doesn't make many mistakes. So, yeah, we've played over half of the quarter, 5:11 to go here in the first quarter, and now we'll get our second look at the Rebels' offense as they try to finish off a drive. Last time they got the ball in excellent field position on that kickoff return, but then turned it over on 3 plays. Or 3 plays on a punt.
So 1st and 10, ball on the 30. Pitch out goes to the right side. That would be Colin McNamara on the carry, and he'll get 6 before he's brought down. Looks like Lucas McNeil as well as number 60. Check that, number 62, Austin Osborne on the tackle.
So, yeah, Colin McNamara recovering. He was stuffed for a 2-yard loss his first carry. So now, he the line did a good job getting him a little bit of a hole that time, and he found it and was able to get the Rebels drive off to a much better start than last time.
Holtkamp wide to the left, 4:28 left to go in the first quarter. One receiver wide to the right, once again in the pistol formation. Handoff goes to Colin McNamara right up the middle, and he'll have enough for a first down as he just plowed ahead and was able to pick up yard after yard. Tackle was made that time by number 33, Zach Muniz.
So, McNamara now opening the drive with a 6-yard rush and a 7-yard rush, and starting to, get into the groove here with 4:15 to go here, nearly 2/3 of the way through this first quarter here at DeVere Fair Stadium.
Looks like we had a player shaken up on that. Was Cal Skives, the 6'4", 281 left tackle. He's a senior. He's actually the coach's son for this Rebel team, and he'll limp off the field. Doesn't look to be too serious, and we hope that he can get back in there.
Also, should be noted that we have a lot of fans on both sides of the field wearing pink tonight in honor of breast cancer awareness. So it's good to see. Good to see that, football's a popular game, and it's great any time that it can be used to create awareness for an important cause.
So timeout on the field for the injury, and it will be the Rebels' second timeout As you talked about, definitely a good cause, as it is breast cancer wellness. If you watched the Bears-Giants game last night on the NFL Network, definitely a pink game, as we've seen last week so far through the NFL. But definitely good to see it all the way down at the high school level.
Yeah, definitely. And by the way, I don't think anybody saw the Giants 0-6 start coming. That's hard for me to figure out. But anyway, back to the game.
Two receivers to the left, pistol formation. Handoff once it goes again to McNamara. He's got room to work with on the cutback. Gets to the 30, tries to make one man miss. It makes two men miss. Oh, and almost got it down. He gets pulled down at the 15. He had one man to beat before he had a shoestring tackle there at the 15. Did McNamara.
Well, McNamara, he's heating up. He went from -2 to 6 to 7. And now they're giving him credit for 41 yards on that carry.
So big-time run by Colin McNamara sets up the Rebels in good field position now near the goal line, as it'll be 1st and 15 on the Decatur 15-yard line.
It would be big for the Rebels if they could strike first blood and make the Hawks played from behind. That's something that they did a lot in their 3 losses in the first 3 weeks, but very little since in the 4 subsequent wins. One receiver wide to the left, end around is faked, and sniffing it out all the way right there was Cameron Evans as he brings him down in the backfield. That play did not fool him at all, as it was an end around that was faked. One receiver went around and then faked it, and then it went right back, and Cameron Evans sniffed it out all the way, so that'll be a loss of 1. Yeah, they faked the handoff to Nathan Fries before giving Holtkamp his first carry of the game, and it looks like
looks like there was a hold on the play as well, so it'll be from the spot of the foul, and that'll push the Rebels back a little bit more.
Good break for the Hawks.
So it'll be 1st and 20. Ball will be on the 33-yard line of Decatur.
Nevertheless, even though the play won't count, still nice confidence builder for the Decatur Central defense to get a stop there, after those 3 big gains from McNamara.
Check that ball on the 23. Once again, Smock in the pistol formation. 2 receivers to the left, 1 to the right. Smock looks to throw. Looking. Got pressure on his left side. He rolls out, gets to the 30, and throws. Got his receiver in the middle of the field. The defender fell down, and he'll walk right into the end zone. That was number 3, David Holtkamp, the leading receiver on this Rebel team.
Well, the Rebels strike first blood that comes nearly 9 minutes into this game, 3:11 left on a 25-yard pass from Cam Smock. And now, let's see. Is it coming back?
I did not see a flag on the play.
Okay, I think they're saying that he crossed the line of scrimmage.
But he crossed the line of scrimmage.
Big break for the yes, okay. Big break for the Hawks.
So that'll negate the huge gain and put the ball right back on the 23-yard line.
So, yeah, now that will be a loss of down there. Now, does that count as an incomplete pass for Smock?
Yes, it does count as an incomplete pass.
All right.
But it'll be 2nd and long. Smock once again in the shotgun. 1 running back to his left, 3 receivers to the left side. Smock looks to throw. Looking across the middle. Has 1 man up there, and it will be picked off. Reading it all the way and getting up there for the interception was Jack Weldon. He is the 6', 190 senior. That's his 3rd interception on the year. He had 2 previously before that.
Well, I'll tell you, the Hawks really have gotten two big breaks. The first 2 possessions, the Rebels have been inside Decatur Central territory. Both times come away empty. First time with the punt, second time an interception. It should be noted, while Cam Smock is not a spectacular quarterback, he's a very smart quarterback coming into the game. 6 touchdowns, only 2 interceptions. That's his 3rd right there.
So the Hawks will take over. It'll be 1st and 10 on their own 4-yard line.
Where they started last time, ironically.
Yeah, it's been a weird defensive battle. So far, neither team has scored. 3:03 left to go in the first quarter. Conlon gets the handoff and goes up the middle, and he doesn't get much, if anything.
Yeah, they definitely have geared their defense to stop him, and so far it's worked. And let's see, yeah, they even got him for a loss on that play, in fact. So Conlon, I have him going 5 for 12 here in the early going. By the way, in World Cup qualifying action, the USA is tied with Jamaica 0-0 at the half. USA's already clinched getting into next year's World Cup, but they're still tuning up these last two matches.
Two receivers on either side. Stevens under center, looks to throw, has his man on the left side, and getting it on the quick spin move, and a great block also in the middle of the field. That block was by Cameron Evans. Catching it on the play was Connor Ray, and after the quick spin move was able to get upfield for about a 12-yard gain. But a great block on that play by Cameron Evans, as you heard it from the crowd.
Yeah, it really was, and that's one reason why I think Evans has a good shot to, even though he's been in Conlon's shadow this season. One reason why I think he's got a good shot to play college ball next year. He's very good size, good rusher, and good blocker as well. So that'll go down as a 21-yard completion to Ray. So Stevens 4 for 4 to start off. So that's a big improvement over last week's 6 and 17 and gives him some confidence in the early going. Although it should be noted, last week 6 of those completions were touchdowns.
So timeout taken as the player that got hit on that big-time block is still down. So definitely wish him the best as he's being attended to. Certainly not something you want to see anybody get hurt.
Yeah, I'll tell you, I've been... I'm thankful that 2 years of commentary, I've never commentated a serious injury. I don't think I've ever, the worst I've seen so far is a player, limping off with a guy on each side of him helping him. And now let's see.
He is up on his feet now as he's still being attended to, so that's definitely a good sign.
Yeah. If I commentate long enough, chances are I will commentate a serious injury. But, yeah, hopefully, he is walking over toward the other side of the field now.
It looks like that's Joe Swan on this linebacker core for the Rebels.
Hopefully just
but at least he's
up.
Walking off under his own power.
Yeah, I mean, he's not even walking particularly slowly. So 2:15 to go, still no score, surprisingly, with these two high-scoring teams, especially the Hawks, who are number 5 in the state in scoring on the season.
Well, give credit to both defenses, though. So far, they've been able to, get turnovers and force the issue for the other offense. So Tommy Stevens will be in the shotgun. 4 receivers set. Evans is the motion man. Handoff goes up the middle to Conlon, and he'll get 2 or 3 on the play before he's brought down. One Rebel saying that the ball came out.
Yes.
And they do call it out. So
wow,
that'll be Conlon's second fumble. Honestly, I thought he was down. That was tough to call, but either way, it'll be 1st and 10 for the Rebels at the 29-yard line.
Wow.
Check
Eli
that, the
Conlon,
26-yard.
I've never seen Eli Conlon fumble, I don't think ever, and now twice in the first quarter. So, you've got to think that's just a fluke. But, as strong, as he is, as great a competitor as he is, you can bet he'll come back with a vengeance and try to redeem himself.
2:05 left to go in the first quarter. It'll be 1st and 10 for the Rebels. So far, a scoreless game. Both teams have, particularly for the Roncalli Rebels, they've had good offensive starting position, but haven't been able to capitalize. Smock in the pistol formation. He'll hand off to McNamara up the middle, and he'll get about 7 or 8 before he's brought down. And that'll bring 2nd and call it 6 on the 23-yard line.
Yeah, ever since McNamara got stuffed on that first possession, he's done very well. And they give him credit for 4 there. So he already 56 yards on 5 carries tonight. He's averaging just under 6 a carry on the season. 1:33 to go and counting here in the first quarter. Still no score. The Rebels have had the ball on all 3 possessions inside Decatur Central territory, but so far come up with no points.
Smock once again on the pistol. 2 receivers to either side. Handoff is faked up the middle, rolling to the right. is Smock, and pressure coming, and he'll look to run. He's got a wide open green field on the left side, and he has one man to beat before he's pushed out at about the 10-yard line. Smock had nothing but green in front of him as he turned the corner back from the right to the left side.
Yeah, after he dodged that sack, it was, a wide open field there. So that'll be a 13-yard rush there by Cam Smock, his first rush of the game.
So it'll be first and goal, ball on the 9-yard line, and Rebels trying to threaten here.
And Smock, by the way, 49 rushes for 82 yards, 4 touchdowns on the season. Under a minute to go now in the quarter.
2 receivers either side. Once again, Smock in the pistol formation, 1 running back behind him. That'd be McNamara. He gets the handoff, and he's breaking tackles up the middle, gets it to about the 3-yard line before he's brought down by Jack Weldon.
Yeah, then this is their top. This is their best field position of the night. So it'd be a big blow to the Rebels if they didn't manage to get some points here.
26 seconds and counting. They'll have to get one more play off, as the play clock is a couple seconds shorter than the game clock. So it'll be second and goal on the 3-yard line. Jumbo formation. 3 running backs right behind Smock. And handoff will go up the middle. I believe that was McNamara on the handoff, and he'll get in there for the touchdown.
Well, we went nearly a quarter before we got our first score of the game. It comes with 9/10 of a second to go on a 3-yard rush by Colin McNamara. That will be his 9th rushing touchdown of the season. David Dickey is the kicker for the Rebels. He's 16 for 19 on the season on extra points and 2 for 2 on field goals.
He is a left-footed kicker. So we'll see how the extra point goes, and it's up and looks to be good, and it is. So it'll be 7-0 here early in favor of Roncalli. So far it's been a little bit of a back-and-forth game. So far, you almost feel sorry for the Decatur Central Hawks defense because they've been back in their own territory for this entire game, but they've held it for only 7 here in the first quarter.
Yeah, through the course of the season, the Hawks are, without question, one of the most improved defenses in the state, from giving up 83 points, in a regulation game, to Perry Meridian to, having some really big blowout wins, like holding Mooresville to 14 last week, holding Greenwood, I think, to 19. And they've done pretty well what they've been expected to do, except they did have McNamara did break through for that 41-yard run, but other than that they've held the line pretty well, and they just have not been done any favors by the Hawks offense or special teams.
So going back deep to return the pass, the kickoff is TJ Helms and Jalen Miller as Dickey prepares the kickoff. And he'll have a straight-ahead kick that'll be picked up by T.J. Helm about the 10-yard line. He bumbles it, and he'll be hit as he was bobbling with it right there at the 10-yard line. So not exactly the return you wanted if you're the Decatur Central offense, who every single time they've gotten it, they've been deep back in their own territory. Yeah, the first, actually, to put that in perspective, this is their best starting field position of the game. The first 2 drives, they started at the 4. This one's at the 10. And that will end the first quarter, by the way. So after the end of the first quarter, it's 7-0 in favor of the Rebels as they'll switch sides and we'll get set for the second quarter. But really and truly, not exactly what we were expecting to see is thus far the Rebels have had excellent field position. Decatur hasn't had much, but they've only given up 7. Yeah, they could be down 21-0 right now. That's looking at it at the bright side. So, as long as they, get something going, not even if they don't get a touchdown, if they get a good drive going and show that they can run against and they can gain yards on this Rebels defense, get them some confidence. That'll help a lot as they. The main thing is not to go down by 2 possessions, not to put yourself in a position where you have to do a whole lot of throwing. So it'll be 1st and 10, ball on the 10-yard line for the Decatur Central Hawks.
Yep.
Stevens looks to throw. Has Sandy out on the left side, and he'll try and spin out of a tackle as he's trying to get forward after this quick screen pass, and he'll get about 4 or 5 on the play, so it'll bring out 2nd and 6 on the 17-yard line.
Yeah, ferocious effort there by Sandy to get more yards, and Stevens now 5 for 5, by the way. So they're giving Sandy credit 5 yards for there on his first reception of the game. Sandy only 10 receptions on the year, but 172 yards and a touchdown, so that's 17 yards reception. That's pretty darn good.
Tommy Stevens once again under center, 2 receivers on either side. Motion man is Cameron Evans, and Cameron Evans will get the handoff on the right side, and he'll get 3 or 4 before he's brought down by a couple of Rebel defenders. So that'll bring out 3rd and call it 2.
Cameron Evans, another decent gain there. So they're giving him credit for 3 yards, bringing up 3rd and 2. This will be a big 3rd down here for the Hawks. They're trying to keep this drive going, trying to avoid the danger of going down by 2 possessions.
3rd and 2, ball on the 21-yard line. Stevens once again under center, bunch formation behind him. Handoff goes to Conlon up the middle, trying to make a couple tacklers miss, and he'll get that 1st down and then call it 2 yards more. So call it a 4-yard carry there by Conlon, and that'll be enough for a 1st down.
Yeah, Conlon definitely needs a good gain here. That was for 6 yards. That was his longest run of the night. Already a 7th carry here early in the second quarter. 10:34 to go, and the Hawks move the chains.
1st and 10, ball on the 27-yard line. Tommy Stevens once again under center. Riker Stout wide to the left. Looks like that is Aaron Sandy wide to the right. Fakes the pass, and
I think
that's going to be a flag, as that pass was intended for Riker Stout on the right side, and he got held a little bit on the back of his jersey as he's going downfield, so...
Yeah, it was pretty obvious, and the defender had his hands right all over Stout there. It was a very easy call. I just, wish that it were a spot foul like in the NFL rather than, just the 15 yards.
Just the 15 yards.
Yeah. Of course, it doesn't really make a big difference here, but in a lot of cases it does, if it's a really long pass.
So it'll be 1st and 10, ball on the Decatur 42. Tommy Stevens once again under center. 2 receivers to either side. Riker Stout on the right and Aaron Sandy on the left. Conlon in the backfield. Cameron Evans the motion man, and handoff goes to Conlon up the middle. Making man's miss. Spins up the field. Gets to about the, Rebel 47-yard line. So that'll be good enough for another 1st down, as that time Conlon was able to break the defenders for a big gain.
Yeah, he went up the middle for 11 yards, showed his customary power, and that's Conlon's first double-digit carry of the game. His 8th carry, he has 31 yards now, just under 4 a rush. So starting to heat up here with an even 10 minutes to go here in quarter number 2. Roncalli leads 7-0.
Same formation. Riker Stout to the right side. Cameron Evans, the motion man. Cameron Evans gets on the handoff, looks to cut back, lost his helmet on the play.
Wow.
So he'll get 4 yards, and his helmet came flying off as he was tackled that time by number 44, Evan Cahill.
So Cameron Evans now 13 yards on the game. He's been very consistent. 3 carries of 3 yards, 1 of 4. 9:29 to go here. But the Hawks are, they're steadily moving the chains on this drive, and they've worked their way now about 50 yards from where they first took over.
7-0 in favor of the Roncalli Rebels. 9:14 left to go in the second quarter. 3 receiver set. Handoff goes up the middle. It's faked up the middle to Conlon, but it's Tommy Stevens on the quarterback keeper, and he'll get the 1st down and then a little bit more. So he got about, call it, 7 on the play, and it'll be enough for a 1st down.
And I got an official timeout here.
As Brent Goss, one of the players that we talked about a little bit in the pregame, had to limp off the field. but he is able to get up and walk off on his own power.
So Stevens, 8 yards on his second rush of the game. 9 minutes to go now, second quarter. Hawks trying to, probably take the lead. I imagine if they get a touchdown on this drive, they will go for the 2, knowing them as well as I do.
So it'll be 1st and 10, ball in the 36. 2 receivers on either side. Handoff is faked up the middle to Conlon. Great block in the backfield. Tommy Stevens looking for somewhere to go, can't find anything, and he'll just run out of bounds. So we got a couple on the play, but give credit to Conlon for the block in the backfield. Otherwise, that could have been very easily been a sack.
So Stevens, really made something out of nothing there. There's just, there's good coverage, and he's a smart player, doesn't make a lot of mistakes. So he just took the they give him credit for a 1 yard gain, but it's better than nothing. And so it's 2nd and 9 at the 35 now. Yeah, I rarely see Stevens throw a bad pass. Very, very, very rarely.
Yeah, he's the kind of player he'll keep the ball and run with it before he takes a bad play. 3 receiver set, 2 to the right, 1 to the left. Handoff goes up the middle to Cameron Evans, and he'll force his way ahead for about 5 or 6 yards before he's brought down. After the initial contact, was able to get a couple more yards. So Decatur Central.
Go ahead. Sorry.
Decatur Central wearing their blue uniforms with the gold helmets. The Roncalli Rebels in their white uniforms with the blue pants and white helmets. And that'll be 3rd and call it 4 on the 30-yard line of the Rebels. Tommy Stevens, once again, bunch formation, 2 receivers either side. Motion man is Cameron Evans. And a little bit of motion on the right side causes Tommy Stevens to figure out if that's the play they really want to go with. And they reset. Cameron Evans gets the handoff, goes to that side, and once again, he drags a couple defenders with him, but I think he's going to be a yard or 2 short of that first down.
Yeah, and I would imagine they would go for it here. Abdi Sow has not attempted a field goal all season. They're giving Evans credit for 1 yard there, by the way.
Yeah, as you talked about, head coach Justin Dixon typically will go for the 2-point conversions, go for it on 4th down rather than he will punt it away occasionally. Tommy Stevens is his punter. We've seen a little bit of trickery thus far on the season with that,
yes.
But it looks like they're just going to go up and try and go for it here. Riker Stout to the right side. To the left is Aaron Sandy. Tommy Stevens once again under center. Stevens looks to throw, looks to the left side, and it looks like that ball is incomplete as the receiver was never able to get it in and bring it in. That was Aaron Sandy, so it'll be a turnover on downs, and ball will go back to the Rebels.
Yeah, so that was Stevens' first incompletion of the game after starting off 5 for 5. However, the Hawks had by far their best ball movement on that possession, and they ended up pushing the ball in the neighborhood of 60-65 yards as the Rebels take over with 7 minutes to go here in the half, trying to take a 2-possession lead.
JP Sinclair along with Lex Zorn here on the Audio Sports Online. Friday night football for Decatur Central. 7 minutes left to go in the second quarter. Handoff goes to the right side. That is Colin McNamara. And he'll get a couple before he's brought down. 6:50 left to go in the second quarter. 7-0 in favor of the Rebels.
Well, it's certainly premature here, coming not even midway through the second quarter, but if the game ended right now, McNamara would have to be the MVP. 8 carries, 67 yards, and a touchdown. In fact, the only touchdown of the game so far.
Personal foul on the flag on that play was against the Hawks for a face mask penalty, so that'll move them back a little bit.
Yeah, and that's one thing I commented on, a few weeks ago, that in high school, unlike the NFL, they still make the distinction between an incidental and an intentional face mask. In the NFL, it's all 15 yards now.
So it'll be 1st and 4 on the 35-yard line. Smock in the pistol formation. 2 running backs to either side.
Looks deep.
Yes, looking very deep. He has his receiver back there and not catching it, but flag on the play. The wide receiver on that play was David Holkamp, but the flag was on the play, so I think that one's going to be good against the Decatur Hawks for pass interference on number 2, Jalen Miller.
Well, both guys had a real good shot at it, but
actually going to call offensive pass interference, so that'll bring that's good for the Hawks as it'll push the Rebels back a little bit more.
Yeah. So let's see. That's so we got 6:15 to go. We've played just under half of the second quarter here. I'll say, it's amazing how quickly it got. With the time we kicked off about 45 minutes ago, there was a lot of blue in the sky. Now it's pitch black, and the Friday night lights are in force.
It's definitely been a fast-moving game, as it's only been 43 minutes, and we're already 6:15 left to go in the second quarter. But that was a good flag, I thought. It looked like the defender had a little bit more play on the ball and got pushed from the back. But either way, it'll be call it 1st and 19 for the Rebels.
It's a lot better than the 1st and 4 that their defense was looking at, that's for sure.
So Smock will go in the shotgun, 1 running back to his right, 3 receivers set on the left side. Smock looks, throws, and almost tipped, but catching it on the left side. I didn't see exactly who caught it. Let's see, 26.
Very close to the first down.
So that's Colin McNamara, the running back, caught it. That was a nice catch. I thought a great play on the ball there by Jalen Miller, or check that. That would be Tommy Stevens.
Who had the reception there?
Oh, I just said it too. McNamara,
okay, yeah. I thought that's what he said.
Tommy Stevens had a great play on the ball, just couldn't elevate enough to be able to make the big play.
Yeah, he made a great effort at it, that's for sure.
So it'll be 2nd and 1. Handoff goes to McNamara, and cutting it back. Looks like he'll have enough for the first down, but give credit to the tackle that time by number 10, Riker Stout.
Okay, you're right, it's McNamara. Okay, I thought it was McNamara. This is my bad. So I apologize for all the times I mispronounced his name tonight.
I'll be honest, when I was doing my prep for the game, I thought it was McNamara, and at one point I had to double-check and make sure I wasn't misspelling it or Word wasn't changing it to something weird on me. But, yes, it is Colin McNamara.
Well, I'm a Cincinnati Reds fan from southeastern Indiana. I got him confused with the old Reds manager, John McNamara, so that's why I just read that last name into McNamara's last name.
Reds fan, huh?
Yeah.
Pitch goes to the left side from Smock to McNamara, and he's still fighting for yards, busting out tackles, getting to the 30, the 20 before he's finally pushed out of bounds. That time, that was just great running. Check that. That was David Holtkamp on the run. That was absolutely beautiful run by Holtkamp as he was just busting tackles and able to break it for the big-time gain.
Yeah, how many? God, I'd like to see, I bet he broke 4 or 5 tackles on there.
I know McNamara is the workhorse for this Rebel offense, but after seeing a run like that, I know Holtkamp leads this team in receptions, but it's surprising he doesn't get more carries with runs like that.
Yeah, well, maybe he will now. He's sure worthy of it. I mean, he got most of those yards after carry, 34 yards there, by the way.
Smock hands off once again to Holtkamp. This time he doesn't break any tackles, though. He's wrapped up very quickly and brought down. Let's see, the tackle on that play, I believe, was made by number 34, which is Dean Thomas, the nose tackle. So doing his job right there in the middle.
Yeah, they're definitely they were wise to take another shot at it, even though he only broke through for 1 yard that time. Nevertheless, yeah, Holtkamp.
David Holtkamp with a carry brought down by number 64, James Scott.
Holtkamp, though, definitely has been the brightest spot of the passing game this season for the Rebels.
2nd and 9. Holtkamp gets it again. Looks to the left side. Cuts it back to the right side. He's got room to run. Great blocking downfield. He's going to get into the touchdown. So David Holtkamp on the nice cutback in the middle of the field. There is a flag late on the play.
Let's see will it count.
See what the phone call. Excuse me, not the phone call. What the call is on the field. See if that stands. But that was a great run by Holtkamp as he just cut it back after he got to the middle of the field and had great blocking down the field. Give credit to the block downfield by Brant Goss.
So will it count? Let's see. It looks they're lined up. Looks like they're lining up for the extra point.
Official has not yet made a signal as he's taking his notes down. So it'll be an unsportsmanlike conduct, and I believe that's enforced on the kickoff.
So I guess somebody did something. Maybe there's
excessive celebration or something like that, I believe. So it's 13-0 and pending the extra point.
So now David Dickey on the extra point. He hit his first one. Second one is up and good.
It looks like that's good. So it is good, and that'll be 14-0 in favor of the Rebels. So Decatur starting to get themselves in a little bit of a hole with 4:06 left to go in the second.
Well, it's like what you go back to the first three games where they were playing from behind. Now, obviously, 14. When you have this kind of offense, being down 14 points in the second quarter, you still got plenty of time to get things going. But it does put more pressure on your passing offense. Now, so far, Tommy Stevens is 5 for 6, but they don't want to be in a situation where he has to go to the air 20, 25 times to have a chance to win, because that's simply not what they do best.
Not who they are.
Yeah.
They've got most of their damage on the year running it. So, playing from behind, it's definitely a lot harder for this Decatur Hawks team.
Yeah, like I mentioned, like at Whiteland when they started off 8-0, but then found themselves down within about 12 minutes, down 29-8. They just, had no margin for error the rest of the way.
So Jalen Miller and TJ Helm back deep to receive for Decatur.
Now, Helm does have 2 kickoff returns for touchdowns on the season, one against Martinsville, one against Mooresville. So now, 4:06 to go. Hawks definitely need to get something going here.
It's actually Edgar Ailman in to kick it off this time. He's a 5'10", 162-pound sophomore. So he gets set to kick. And it will be fielded by Jalen Miller at about the 20. And he bobbles it again. And he picks it up at about the 15, looks to run with it, makes a couple men miss, and gets it at least to the 23-yard line before he's brought down. But that's his second bobble of the game thus far.
Yeah, and that's something you can bet they're going to be working on in practice. That's just pure fundamentals right there. But, now keep in mind the Hawks do get the ball first to start the second half. So if they can get a touchdown or even a field goal on this drive, then they'd have a chance to,
take the momentum into the locker room.
Yeah, and then, come out in the hope of getting a, maybe game tying or even leading possession to start off the second half.
4 minutes to go for Tommy Stevens and this Decatur offense. 2 receivers to the left, 1 to the right. Stevens in the shotgun. Handoff goes up the middle of the check that's faked up the middle of the Conlon. Stevens keeps
Got room.
He's got room to work with down the field. Gets to about the 50, the 55 before he's cut and forced out of bounds. Great run by Stevens on the big gainer.
Yeah, definitely a big momentum creating play for the Hawks there as Stevens goes 30 yards on that keeper there.
So that'll be 1st and 10, ball on the Rebel 43-yard line.
So Tommy Stevens now, I got him 45 yards on 3 carries.
Stout wide to the right, Cameron Evans in the slot. Wide to the left is Aaron Sandy. Stevens in the shotgun. High snap, takes it, looks to throw, rolling to his right side, has his man Stout, and he'll be pushed out of bounds at, call it, the 26-yard line.
Another first down. Stevens 6 for 7 now.
So very quickly, the Hawks moving downfield on 2 plays after the big run by Stevens and the pass by received in by Stout.
Stout's 4 receptions, 56 yards already, 3:44 to go, second quarter. Roncalli leading Decatur Central 14-0. 2 rushing touchdowns for the Rebels.
2 receivers to the right, 2 to the left. Cameron Evans and Sandy on the left side. Evans the motion man. Handoff goes up the middle of Conlon and bouncing off a couple tacklers and gets about 4 before he's brought down. Great run. Had a beat on him, but not able to bring him down. And he was able to evade the tackle and get a couple more. So it'll be 2nd and 6.
Yeah, Eli Conlon, 5'10", 184, not a huge guy, but he still, really knows how to break off a tackle. He's tougher than his size would imply.
Riker Stout goes wide to the right. 3 receiver and a bunch set to the left, including Cameron Evans, Aaron Sandy. And Evans is the motion man. Handoff is faked. And getting pressure. Stevens evades it, looks downfield, throws, and he's just going to throw it away. But Stevens did a great job evading the would-be sack.
Yeah, he did. He really did. And, that's a play that, could have been a disaster. Really, the last two plays for the Hawks easily could have resulted in losses. And as it is, they've gone from 1st and 10 to 3rd and 7, which certainly is not great, but it's a lot better than what could have been.
Yeah, sack definitely would have been a momentum killer there. 2:56 left to go in the second quarter. Rebels lead 14-0.
Now the Hawks obviously in 4-down territory here.
One receiver goes wide to the right. That would be Riker Stout, and timeout taken by Roncalli. So, we've talked about it. It's been a little bit of a back-and-forth game. Back and forth, and, Roncalli's been able to capitalize on the short fields they've had, where Decatur's had to try and overcome that, and they haven't been able to thus far.
Yeah, they've moved the ball fairly well. Roncalli, though, what Roncalli's done very well for the most part is not give up the big play until obviously this drive. He had Stevens break free for that 30-yard rush. But certainly it looks like if this ends up being a close game, whoever loses is going to be kicking themselves, because there have been several golden opportunities missed by both teams so far.
Yeah, you talked about the missed opportunities. Conlon, we've seen him fumble a couple times. That's something we haven't really seen all year.
Yeah. So, I'd have to check the statistics, but I'm not sure he had a fumble all year coming into this game.
I didn't have him marked down on fumble. I know Cameron Evans had one coming into this game, as well as Dakota Sidwell, but not Eli Conlon.
Yeah, well, this offense is very fundamentally sound. They do not make a lot of mistakes. In fact, Roncalli, same thing. These two quarterbacks were, up to week 8, these two quarterbacks only combined for 6 interceptions on the season. That's very low.
4 receiver set. Conlon in the backfield. Motion man is Cameron Evans from left to right. And Stevens takes it, rolls to the right, has some pressure coming, looking downfield, not finding anything, tries to turn it back, trying to find something downfield, still on his feet, looking, fakes the throw, gets the defender on the air, and he's going to run with it. And he'll be pushed out at about the 14-yard line.
Now that was highlight reel material there.
He ran, I guarantee you, at least 50 yards evading tacklers on that play to still get a positive gain and the first down.
Yes, he sure did. That was,
Check that. That was not a first down.
Oh, really?
That's going to be 4th and 1. But that's it's in 4th down territory.
So 6 yards officially, Tommy Stevens on the play.
That was just great awareness down the field by Tommy Stevens. And the whole time he wasn't looking to run with it. He was trying to find something downfield. There was just nothing there. So he was able to still pick up decent yards on the carry.
Yeah, he ended up getting 6 net yards and probably about 70 overall yards. Yeah, I hope that one makes the news tonight. But we'll see. 4th and 1 now. Crucial play for the Hawks offense here.
2 receivers either side. Stout on the right. Aaron Sandy wide to the left. Evans the motion man coming behind Conlon. Rebels crowding the line and almost jumped. And it looks like Decatur Central will call a timeout. Didn't like what they saw from that Rebel defense.
Well, and that's the sign of a fundamentally sound team. They manage to, they avoid confusion and save their timeouts for when you really need them. If I were a coach, I would cringe if it were the first quarter, and we started wasting our timeouts. It's a sign of a fundamentally sound team when you get to the last 2 or 3 minutes of the half, and you still have all your timeouts left to use for situations where you really need them like this.
If you're just joining us, audiosportsonline.net, I'm JP Sinclair along with Luke Zorn. 2:42 left to go in the second quarter. The Roncalli Rebels lead the Decatur Central Hawks 14-0. Coming up at halftime, we'll have a first half recap. We'll take a look at the stats, look also at the adjustments that need to be made from both these teams, and reset the scene for you. And we'll also take a look at some scores from around the state, all coming up here at the half. But Decatur breaks the timeout, looking for a big play upcoming here at 4th and 1.
Well, this is a crucial play for the Hawks. They want desperately to get that touchdown before they get into the locker room, so that they'll have a chance to take that opening kickoff, get another touchdown drive, and tie or take the lead. They definitely don't want to go down in the locker room down 14-0.
Riker Stout wide to the right, Aaron Sandy wide to the left once again. Tight formation for the Hawks. One running back in the back. Tommy Stevens keeps it on the quarterback keeper, and he's going to lean forward. We'll see exactly where the spot is.
He does have the first down.
And it looks like he will have the first down.
Just enough. He got the 1 yard he needed.
On those quarterback keepers, you just follow your center ahead as far as you can, and that's exactly what Stevens did, following the 6'4", 285-pound junior Luke Gregory up the middle.
Well, we got 2:34 to go and counting here. The Hawks, the best thing for them would be if they were to, milk the clock, just do a lot of, running plays, stay in bounds, and get the touchdown with little enough time left that the Rebels would, not try to score a touchdown, that they'd just take a knee when they get the ball back.
Riker Stout wide to the right. Handoff goes to Cameron Evans, trying to make a tackler miss at the line of scrimmage. Still on his feet, breaking a couple more tackles. Cameron Evans not refusing to be brought down there. Man had a beat on him, but had him even wrapped around the hip, but not able to bring him down. So good run there by Cameron Evans for calling it 4 yards. It was definitely a tough 4 yards.
Yeah, they're actually giving him credit for 5. They're marking it 2nd and 5 at the 13 for Evans. He's had a moderately effective game, 7 carries, 24 yards so far.
Minute 40 and counting. Riker Stout once again to the right side, bunch formation in the backfield. Stevens under center. Handoff goes once again. It's fake to Evans, looking to the left side. Has his man, and missing it is Dakota Sidwell, just a little bit above his head. But Dakota Sidwell was wide open on the left side on the...
It looked like there was just a little miscommunication between the two. They looked like they were a little bit out of sync there as the clock stops with 1:30 to go, 3rd and 5. Sidwell has had an amazingly quiet game so far. No receptions, no rushes. That's very unlike him. I mean, he's really one of those guys... Again, doesn't get a lot of press, but on the season still 59 for 367, a little over 6 a carry, 8
touchdowns
rushes,
is the big one.
And then 6 for 46 and 1 touchdown on receptions.
Handoff is not faked. Stevens looks to throw it, has pressure, and he'll be brought down.
Oh, that's lethal.
Great penetration there by number 41, Nick New, the 6'2", 213 senior, bringing Stevens down on the sack. That was great penetration. New was on his face, and Tommy Stevens' face pretty much right from the snap.
Yeah, and that's a terrible, terrible momentum-killing play as the Hawks take their second timeout here with 1:09 to go here in the first half. But yeah, they had it in 3rd and 5. And Stevens, who's eluded sacks all game, finally caught up with him right there. He's brought down for a loss of about 9 yards, so that'll bring up, I believe, 4th and 14, and under a minute to go now.
So we talked about it being 4th down territory. I don't think this is exactly what we had in mind. 51 seconds on the game clock, 2 receivers either side. Stevens looks to go under center. Ball is on the 13-yard line of Roncalli.
It's the 22. They haven't changed on the scoreboard, unfortunately.
Clock ticking down, 2 seconds on the play clock, and they're going to let it run down as far as they can before they take their final timeout.
So, yeah, the Hawks took all 3 timeouts on this last possession.
Well, why we got a break in the action? I want to ask you, Lek, you said you were a Reds fan.
Yes.
So how do you feel about the Dusty Baker letting go?
Well, I don't know everything that goes on behind the scenes. I don't pretend to, but on paper, it's hard to justify. I mean, when you had a team that was coming off 9 consecutive losing seasons and about a 14 or 15-year playoff drought, and then to come in, make the playoffs 3 times in 4 years, which is a much bigger achievement in baseball than in any of the other, major team sports. I don't know if it's just... maybe he wasn't well liked. Maybe he had a falling out with somebody in management. But it seems like these days playoff success is so much
highly valued.
Yeah.
And he hasn't had any even when he was with the Cubs.
Right. Yeah. And I think it's not a fair thing to judge a coach by. Nor is it fair to judge a quarterback by it. I think that Peyton really got a raw deal. Some of the blame he took for some of those playoff losses with the Colts. Not that he was always great, but certainly not all of those losses were his fault. But anyway.
4th and long. Tommy Stevens gets it, looks downfield, looks to the right side, looks for Riker Stout. Incomplete. Great play defensively that time by David Holtkamp. who had the jumped at just the right time to deflect that pass. That was great timing by Holtkamp. So it'll be a turnover on downs. Ball will go back to the Rebels. We'll see if they try and do anything with it with 29 seconds left to go in the second quarter and a 14-point lead.
Well, yeah, it's very unlikely. I would assume that they would just kneel here because they have the two-possession lead, and they're not they're a solid offensive team, but not a great offensive team, especially through the air. So I'd be surprised if we see anything other than a smock and kneel down right here.
So they'll come out. One receiver goes to the right. Nobody. Okay, now going over there to cover him is Jalen Miller, and he will just take a knee. So trying to run out the clock, and that should do it after they respot the ball. So
they're
not exactly in a hurry. So the clock is ticking. So
they're headed to the locker room.
There we go. So that'll be the end of the first half. We'll take a quick break, and then we'll come back and look at the recap of the first half for you and take a look at the stats and more coming up here on the halftime.
Hawk fans, watch tonight at 11:15 on Wish TV for all your scores and highlights. Also check out wish.com for extended highlights and video. Again, watch The Zone tonight at 11:15 on Wish TV for all the scores and highlights of your Decatur Central and Roncalli Rebels. Also, watch for Fox 59. They've been here all night filming highlights, our students, our band, and our school. Again, tune in tonight for Fox 59's football show this evening. Hawk fans, your Hawks will be in action next Friday at home for the last game of the regular season. It'll be senior night versus Franklin Community. The theme of the game is Way Out. Come out on your way and support your senior high school football and band members.
Okay. Now, did you keep track of all the scoring plays and other ones too? Okay, I've got them listed here. Because that's usually what
also, Hawk fans, at this time in the high school athletic department would like to thank the corporate sponsors: Community Health Network, Edwards Drive-In, Royal Spa, Jones Family Mortuary, Hellman's. To get information about corporate sponsorship or to advertise in the Hawk Sport magazine, please contact Ms. Kelly McWilliams at the DCHS Athletic Office. Don't forget to stop by the Safe Halloween, the 11th annual Safe Halloween and Classic Car Show at Station 71 on High School Road. That'll be this October 31st from 5:30 to 8 o'clock. Come trick or treat at the firehouse. Kids are encouraged to wear costumes and must be accompanied by an adult. That's the Safe Halloween, sponsored by the Decatur Township Fire Department, St. Vincent, and St. Vincent's Health.
Yeah, I guess you just like take the bus with the team. Oh, okay. Did the university give you like any budget for that? Okay. Okay. Did you ever go to Michigan? Okay. I heard that was like going to the place in Kansas, but yeah. Because I didn't realize when I first moved up here, we didn't have any, because when I lived in southern Indiana, I used to go to the university all the time. And that was the college team that I took their games. That was before they became...
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Decatur Central High School is proud to present the 2013 Decatur Central Marching Band. The marching band has been hard at work this summer preparing for the football and Indiana competition season. This evening, for your halftime entertainment, the marching band will present their entire competition show of 2013 called Once Upon a Nightmare. The band has competed several times this season and recently earned first place last weekend at the Danville competition. Our show features all original music and tells a familiar story of Sleeping Beauty, but with a scary twist. As she sleeps, she is haunted by nightmares. Will the nightmares end? Will she be rescued from her tortured slumber? Stay seated and find out. The band will be at Center Grove tomorrow and perform at 8 o'clock. Drum majors Mackenzie Adams, Cody Smith, Bailey Bradshaw, and Sam Merkler. Is your band ready?
Oh yeah. I love commentary, and
You may take the field for your halftime performance.
It's one of those things. I've been watching sports 35. I'm 42 now. I've been watching sports since I was 7. I don't think I would ever get tired of doing it. And so I'll keep doing it as long as anybody's willing to hire me.
Who wished nothing more than to have a child of their own. After many years, they were found blessed with a beautiful daughter, and she was loved and adored by her entire kingdom. You know her as Sleeping Beauty.
Welcome back to DeVere Fair Stadium at the Decatur Central High School. Half times thus far, the Rebels lead 14-0 after the first half, and it could have been a lot worse. You look at it, you're down 2 scores. You do get the ball coming out, as we talked about, to start the second half, but also, you overcame some bad field position early.
Yeah, on their first 3 possessions, on Roncalli's first 3 possessions, they had the ball inside Decatur Central territory. The first 2 times they came up with 0 points. The first time they ended up punting it away. Second time, Jack Weldon made an interception there in the red zone. So it could be a lot worse. Now, obviously, the big disappointment is that the Hawks failed to capitalize on their best drive of the game there late in the first half. They got the ball there inside I think up to the 13, and then Weldon, they got up to 13, and then Tommy Stevens was scrambling around, which he had done so well all game. This time he finally got sacked for a 9-yard loss that brought the Hawks to 4th and long, and that he threw deep into the end zone, which is not his best game, and it ended and then that ended their drive, and of course the Rebels just ran out the clock from there. But to recap the scoring, with 9/10 of a second left in the first quarter, Colin McNamara scored a touchdown on a 3-yard rush. David Dickey hit the extra point, making the score 7-0. And then 4:06 to go in the second quarter, David Holtkamp rushed 25 yards for a touchdown. Dickey's extra point made it 14-0, which is our current score. And I'll tell you, I'm used to these recaps taking about 5 minutes because there's so many darn scores to report in these Decatur Central games, but it's 14-0
so far,
tonight.
not tonight.
Yeah. I mean, in fact, it was right around 8 o'clock on the dot when I didn't get the exact time, but it was right around 8 o'clock when the half ended. That's an extremely, extremely quick half by Decatur Central standards.
Yeah, it's only 1 hour. I mean, we're typically used to watching, because of the amount of points that they typically put up, a different story here tonight.
Yeah, when I cover Decatur Central, I usually don't get out in under 3 hours. But a quick stats recap. First of all, for the leading Roncalli Rebels, Cam Smock, the quarterback, completed 3 of 4 passes for 25 yards, no touchdowns, 1 interception. Colin McNamara has 1 reception for 18 yards. David Schott, 1 for 10 yards, and David Holtkamp, 1 for -3 yards. On rushing, Colin McNamara leads the way, 8 rushes for 68 yards. David Holtkamp, 3 for 60, and each of those two has 1 touchdown rushing. And then Colin Smock, the quarterback, 2 rushes for 12 yards. For your Decatur Central Hawks, Tommy Stevens has completed 6 of 10 passes for 82 yards, no touchdowns and no interceptions. Riker Stout has 4 receptions for 56 yards. Cameron Ray, Connor Ray has 1 reception for 21 yards, and Aaron Sandy 1 reception for 5 yards. On rushing, Tommy Stevens leads the way with 6 rushes for 43 yards. Eli Conlon's been well contained so far, 9 for 34. And finally, Cameron Evans is 7 for 24.
Thank you, Lek. Take a look at what adjustments. You just heard the first half stats. You look at it. Conlon, we didn't talk about it in the stats, but he's definitely one of the factors in this game, and one of the reasons why they're down with the 2 fumbles. That's just something we don't typically see. Yeah,
Eli Conlon averaging just under 10 yards a carry on the season. Tonight, under 4 a carry. So they definitely, and you give credit to the Rebels for preparing very well to stop Stevens. They definitely were ready for him, and they haven't stopped him dead in his tracks, but they've just kept him from having any, super gains.
Yeah, and you talked about that, those super gains. Well, that's exactly what we're used to seeing out of Conlon. He's typically one of those players that if he gets a full head of steam, he's down the field.
Yeah, once he passes the linebackers, usually he's gone. I mean, I've seen him break away for 60, 70-yard touchdowns. In fact, I saw him, like I said, even last year when he was far less, a statistical giant. He still had a 96-yard touchdown reception on a screen pass. So, he, is capable of, scoring from anywhere on the field. But, Roncalli, they have an awesome tradition. They're well coached by Bruce Cyphers, one of the great living legends in Indiana high school football, who's 213-76 in his 24th year. Roncalli's an 8-time state championship, 3-time state runner-up. So even when they, are by their standards having a moderate season, they're still very dangerous, and they're always very fundamentally sound.
Well, if you're head coach Justin Dixon for this Decatur Central Hawk team, what adjustments do you make to try and get Eli Conlon going here in the second half?
Well, I think the main thing is, just get rid of the mistakes, get rid of the mental errors. They have not played badly. They've generally moved the ball about as well as you could reasonably hope for against our Bruce Cyphers coach team. But, they've just failed to capitalize on opportunities, and, they've had the 2 fumbles. I mean, if they have a turnover-free half, especially if they get a touchdown here on this opening drive of the second half, they're going to have a very good shot to hang in there and win this game. They just have to get rid of the mistakes.
Oh, yeah, they're definitely not out of it yet. But, I mean, we talked about giving credit to the Rebels. If you're the Rebels, you're up 14.5, what do you – if you're, great coach like Skyfors, what are you saying to your team to keep them motivated coming out of the locker room?
Well, I think I would remind them that this is the number 5 offensive team here in the state of Indiana. That, they might have 0 points now, but if you give them opportunities, they could have 28 points in 5 or 6 minutes. They're that good. And second of all, I would say keep moving the clock, keep moving the chains. You do those things, and the game goes sharply in your favor.
Okay, I'm JP Sinclair along with Lex Zorn here at half at Decatur Central High School. The Roncalli Rebels up 14-0. Second half upcoming. We'll take a quick break, and then we'll bring some scores from around the state as we get ready for the second half. You're listening to AudioSportsOnline.net.
Not getting very many scores.
Yeah, I've never found a place to get scores in action.
The very first game I did with Marcus, he hooked me up with the Operation Football app.
Okay.
And typically, the very first couple of weeks, there'd be the whole state and updates from every single game. Thus far, I've only got 37 games now, but it was 19 a second ago.
Operation Football, so that's in the app store.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
It's Channel 13.
Okay. I'll have to get that.
It's really great because, it has schedules, big stories, even has the weather.
Yeah.
So it's definitely handy. Here in a minute, we'll get ready.
Okay.
I'll read some of it. Do you want to read something?
Oh, no, you go ahead. I did the stats, so you can do that. Okay.
Welcome back. It is 80s night, if you couldn't hear. It's definitely been an 80s mix of music for the fans here at Decatur Central High School.
Well, I'm an 80s guy. I'm 42, so, yeah, a lot of these songs are like a trip back to my childhood, to my great 80s metal days.
I was born in the 80s. Does that count?
Well, what I've noticed, I've noticed there are a lot of people not of my generation who really like the music of the 80s, which I'm glad to see.
There was definitely some great rock, Journey, Def Leppard, a lot of great rock in the 80s.
I'm a fan of those guys. And, still into this day, and, Survivor, and, I'm a fan of a lot of 70s bands, too, like Kansas, Boston, Pink Floyd. But the 80s are definitely my favorite decade of all time when it comes to music.
Okay, well, we're at Decatur Central High School. Let's take a look at some of the other scores from around the state. At the half, Muncie Central is up over Anderson 16-12. Angola is up by 1 over Fremont 7-6 at the half. Zionsville is up against Brownsburg 7-0 in the second. Cathedral leads Tech in a very close one, 12-7 in the second. That's a little bit surprising.
Yeah.
Centerville up over Union County, so far blanketing them 36-0 at the half. Carroll Fort Wayne 35-7 over Columbia City at the half. Lebanon over Crawfordsville 34-6 in the second. Mount Vernon Fort Newell over Delta 7-0 at the half, but down there in the southwest corner of the state. Eastern Hancock up 47-12 over Shenandoah at the half. At the half, Fairfield leads Churubusco 21-6. I can't say it, but I know it's off of State Route 205. Does that count for anything?
Yeah. Well, I've been a Hoosier all my life, and I'm still not sure how to pronounce it.
Fort Wayne Dwinger and Fort Wayne Schneider all tied up at the half. Elwood leads Frankton 21-0 at the second. Garrett and Leo, I'm guessing that's up there in the Fort Wayne area as well, as that's where Garrett, Indiana is, all tied up at the half, 7-7. Greencastle leads Cascade 28-0 at the half. Greenwood up 1 against Franklin, 8-7. I'm guessing that's Franklin Central. No, right. That's Franklin Community.
Franklin, yeah.
So that's Greenwood against Franklin Community. Very close game in the second, so we'll keep an eye on that one. As we talked about, Decatur Central will play Franklin Community upcoming. Norwell leads Homestead 14-12 at the half. Fishers is blanketing Lafayette Jeff at the half, 31-7. Lewis Cass leads Mackinac 14-7 at the half. Mishawashka is leading Mishawashka Marion 14-0 in the first. Martinsville coming out big against Mooresville. Mooresville's just having a tough season.
Oh, yeah, I commentated them 3 weeks ago. I mean, Chad Dockery has a major rebuilding project on his hands. I mean, They're 1-9 last year in his first season. Now 0-8 to start off this year. But it can always be worse. I mean, I just called a game at Harrison a couple of weeks ago. That was their 32nd consecutive loss.
So it's 50-0 in favor of Martinsville. Center Grove leads North Central 21-0 in the second. Northeastern leads Cambridge City Lincoln 36-0 at the half. Northwestern up over Purdue 14-0 in the second. Eastbrook leads Oak Hill 14-7 at the half. Park Tudor is down by 1 against Heritage Christian at the half. Pike leads Carmel 6-0 in the first, so that's another game of the week to keep an eye on. Whiteland leads Plainfield 14-7 in the second. We told you our score here. South Adams and Woodlawn 7-all at the half. And as far as Central Indiana goes, Warren Central leads Lawrence Central 7-0 in the second. There's some other scores, but we're getting set here, and that's pretty much all for Central Indiana.
Well, we're ready to kick off the second half here on the southwest side of Indianapolis with your Decatur Central Hawks trying to come back. They trail 14-0 against the Roncalli Rebels, their rivals from the south side of the city.
Kicking off and receiving it this time is TJ Helm. He'll have it at the 5, gets to the 20, looks to make a move, and he gets hit hard at the 20 by number 48. That would be Nate Ebby there on the big-time tackle. The 6', 160 sophomore just swallowed up TJ Helm on that return.
Yeah, he sure did, and you could tell by the way that Helm was, running. He was thinking about, another kickoff return for a touchdown. He has 2 of them this season already, and if he had gotten one, that would have been a huge momentum-building play for the Hawks. But nevertheless, their offense, has a golden opportunity right here. Correct me if I'm wrong. Is this their best starting field position of the game?
This would be their best starting field position. Their next best was the 13-yard line.
Yeah, and they started their first 2 drives at the 4.
So it's 1st and 10, ball on Decatur's own 26. Motion man is Dakota Sidwell. Up the middle it goes to Conlon. Conlon breaks 2 tackles, break 3 tackles on his way to the 35-yard line. Look for an 8-yard gain for Eli Conlon on the ground.
Yeah, it looks like he's going to be just shy of the first down here. By the way, a scoring update in another sport. USA has taken a 2-0 lead against Jamaica on goals by Graham Zusi in minute 77 and Josie Altadori in minute 81. So good to see we're showing some strength there, getting ready for next year's World Cup.
2nd and 1. Stevens looks to the right side, not finding anything. Has some pressure in the backfield. Evading the pressure, looking downfield, throwing in the middle of the field is Cameron Evans. Has his man at the 55, down to the 40, breaking a tackle to the 41 before Evans is finally brought down.
Yeah, Evans is not a guy who gets a lot of receiving yards, but yeah, he was wide open on that play. He was open from here to Fort Wayne. 26 yards there on the reception from Eli Conlon.
Can't complain about that at all. That was beautiful evasion there by Tommy Stevens in the pocket before we found his man downfield. Great patience by Evans coming back to the ball.
Yes, indeed. Stevens could have run for the first down, but he saw the man. He was wide open. There was nobody probably within 20 feet of him.
Stevens goes under center. Riker Stout on the right side. On the left side is Aaron Sandy. Conlon in the backfield. Stevens looks to throw. Finds his man Stout at the 40. Gets to the 30. Breaks a tackle. And he's finally brought down at, call it, the 26-yard line.
So, excellent start to this drive for the Hawks.
Stevens looking, we talked about his arm and how patient he is throwing it, but he has looked really good coming out of this locker.
Yeah, he's completed his first 2 passes. That one to Riker Stout for 13 yards and another first down, 10:41 to go now. So the Hawks have already moved 48 yards on this drive on 2 big completions and a nice run by Conlon as well.
Stevens looks to throw again, finds his man Aaron Sandy on the left-hand side. Takes 2 people to bring him down as he got, call it 8 on the play. Up to the, call it the 24-yard line.
Giving him credit for 7. Sandy, that's Sandy's second reception of the game. As the clock approaches, now we're just over 10 minutes to go here in the third quarter here at Decatur Central. The Hawks trying to get their first score of the game and pull within 1 possession.
2nd and 3. Stevens goes under center. Cameron Evans in the slot. Wide to the right is Riker Stout. Wide left is Sandy. Handoff goes to Conlon up the middle, and he'll get close to the first down marker, but he gets pushed back. We'll see exactly where forward progress put him. It was close to the first down. He might be a yard short, though.
And by the way, that is a final now. USA beats Jamaica 2-0 in World Cup qualifying action.
They looked really good against Mexico, and I believe it was Dominican Republic earlier in the first qualifier.
I don't think the Dominican Republic is in their region, but
I know they looked really good against Mexico, so hopefully they'll be able to make some noise in the World Cup this year.
I sure hope so. Yeah, especially in the way the sport continues to grow over here. It's really exciting. So now back to action here. After Conlon was stuffed for no gain.
Stevens goes under center. Riker Stout wide to the left. Sandy wide to the left. Motion man's Dakota Sidwell. Handoff goes to Sidwell. Cuts it to the right side, and he'll have enough for the first down. He'll get about, call it 5 on the play, and he'll get up to the 17-yard line.
Yeah, amazingly, that is Sidwell's first carry on the game. And he carries a lot, but just today, he's of course, that shows you how many weapons that this Hawks team has offensively, that they can go a half, without giving it to him.
14-0 in favor of the Roncalli Rebels. Decatur threatening here. First and 10 on the 15-yard line.
Sidwell, averages 8 carries a game coming into tonight.
Riker Stout is wide to the right. Cameron Evans in the slot. Wide to the left is Aaron Sandy. Stevens goes under center. Lots of players for the Rebels at close to the line of scrimmage. This time the pitch out goes to Conlon. He's going to break a couple tackles, get close to the end zone, and he'll be down at the 1-yard line.
Just short of it. Nevertheless, though, that will be a first down and the longest rush of the game for, they're giving Conlon 13 yards.
So it'll be first and goal. Very quickly now the Hawks are moving. Tommy Stevens goes under center. 2 receivers to the left, 1 to the right. Pitch out goes to Conlon, and he'll walk into the end zone.
He's got it. That's number 19 of the year for Eli Conlon.
So that'll put the Hawks on the board for the first time tonight. And it is 14-6 now in favor of the Rebels, pending the either extra point or, well, I'm going to say extra point because So's out there. So 18-20 on the year is So.
So it's So, not Sal.
I've said So all year.
I've said So all year. All right. Well, I'll go with you. All right.
I should probably ask Coach that next time I email him.
Okay. Yeah, that's good. It's a good idea.
So the snap is low, but is up and good. So now Decatur down just 1 touchdown, 14-7. Okay, so they get their first score.
The PA guy here said so that's what I'll go with. He probably knows.
Yes, he probably knows a lot better than I would.
Yeah, this is the 5th time I've covered the Hawks this season, but the first time here, at Decatur Central.
For the first couple of games, he wasn't even doing it. Like, it was just 2-point conversion after 2-point conversion.
Right, and besides that, they've, believe it or not, this is only the 3rd home game for the Hawks this season. Now, this was supposed to be their year to play Martinsville at home, but that one got moved over to Lucas Oil Stadium. So this is only the 3rd game actually played here at the Hawks home field. And they've but yeah, when you can go on the road and win the way that they've been winning on the road, and then of course the neutral site game, that's a good feeling.
So Decatur gets their first scoring drive of the game to cut this lead down to just a score, and so we'll get set for the ensuing kickoff.
Yeah, and fans have continued to file in. Now we've got, it looks like the stands across the field there at the Roncalli side are about 85% full. Got a really nice crowd there, and it's, probably, a good 2/3 full here on the Decatur Central side as well. Probably have over 3,000 people here tonight.
Holcamp back deep to return for the Rebels. Short kick. It'll be fielded about the 10. Holcamp takes it, gets to the 15, cuts it back at the 20, looking to the outside, gets to the 25, the 30. He has room to run and gets all the way to the 40 before he's finally pushed out. Pushed out that time by number 45, Ryan Harrison, the 5'11", 195-pound sophomore for the Hawks.
Well, when I saw he had that open space on the left side of the field, I thought, oh boy, if he,
if he can turn that corner,
yeah, then that would be a huge momentum, devastating momentum-killing play for the Hawks after they finally got on the scoreboard there.
Either way, it'll be 1st and 10 for the Rebels at their own 43-yard line. Smock under center in the I formation, wide to the right. I believe that is Holtkamp. Pitch off goes to McNamara, and he'll get a yard, call it 2 on the play before he's brought down at the 45.
Yeah, McNamara, still the leading rusher in this game, gets another 2 yards on this game. He's up to 70 now on 9 carries. Although it should be noted that David Holtkamp has 60 yards on only 3 carries, including that 25-yard touchdown rush there in the second quarter.
We haven't seen much from Nate Fries. I was expecting to see him run a little bit more.
Yeah, I have him with 0 carries so far.
So it'll be 2nd and 8, ball on the 45 of the Rebels. 2 receivers to the left, 1 to the right. Smock in the shotgun, 1 running back to the right. Smock looks to throw, looks to the right side on the curl route, has his man, that is number 24, Aaron Schnell, and he'll have a gain of, call it 6 on the curl, and that'll bring out 3rd and 3.
That's 6 yards there. They credit Schnell with. And only the 4th complete pass, of course, only the 5th pass even thrown by Smock tonight. You know, I wonder if Aaron Schnell's related to Dave Schnell, who was the starting quarterback at IU back in the 80s in the Bill Mallory era.
We'd have to dig out the media guide to find that one.
Yeah.
7 minutes to go in the third quarter. 3rd and 2. Smock in the shotgun. Hands off to McNamara. McNamara cuts to the left side. Gets the first down and more. Gets to about the 42 of Decatur.
Nice run there by McNamara. He's been solid all game. Weldon in on the stop. He had the interception earlier.
McNamara's, he's listed at 5'11", but he's very short and compact, and he runs with, he hits that line of scrimmage very, very hard.
Yeah, he does, and he's definitely been the best player offensively all season for the for the Rebels.
Smock.
And he's just a junior, so he has another year to improve.
Smock in the shotgun, hands off. McNamara on the right side, gets to fumble picked up by Decatur Central Hawk. He's got room to run. 40, 30, 20, 10, and he will have the touchdown. That is Jack Weldon, the 6', 190 senior.
Oh my God!
McNamara coughed it up, and it was right to Jack Weldon, and he'll rush it in for the touchdown. And pending the extra point, we could have a tied game on our hands. Just like that, the Decatur Central Hawks have worked their way back into this game.
Jack Weldon, oh my God, he had a touchdown interception return for a touchdown earlier this year, and now Abdi Sow is going to try to tie it. They're not going to take the chance on the 2-point conversion unless they go for a fake, which of course is possible.
Given head coach Justin Dixon, it would not surprise me if they go for the fake at all.
Oh, me either.
I've seen Tommy Stevens fake it so many times and so many 2-point conversions. Tommy Stevens wanted to go in there to hold. So you always know that he's always got some trickery up his sleeve. But either way, pending extra point.
So Ray on the hold, and So's extra point is good.
Great pressure there, but So was able to get it away, and we're all tied up at 6:19. So just like that, you have the kickoff, you get it, you go down the field, you get the touchdown, and then just like that, you get the big play there by Weldon for the touchdown.
Yeah, and McNamara. He looked like he was going to gain several. Did you see exactly where he was when the ball came out?
He was about the, I'd say the 45. Ball was on the 45. He got about to the 40 of Decatur Central before he coughed it up. And it was literally a cough up. Like, that ball just bounced right into Weldon's hands, and he was off to the races.
The bounce was just perfect, and with the way his momentum was going, I knew he was gone almost the moment he grabbed it.
Holtkamp had a dangerous return last time, was turning the corner away from the touchdown, if you will, as he had a big return last time. He's back deep to return
they're saying
kickoff.
They're saying 61 yards, by the way, on that fumble return.
Holtkamp deep. He will field it at about the 10-yard line. Takes it, cuts back at the 20, looks to cut to the right side at the 30, cuts back to the left once again, zigzagging his way to the 33-yard line was Holtkamp before he's brought down, and it'll be 1st and 10 for the Rebels.
Well, remember what I said when you asked me what I would say at halftime if I were Coach Cyphers, and I said no mistakes. Well, they've just made one mistake, but and just like that, the game is tied.
All tied up at 14, 6:11 left to go in the third quarter. Rebels have it in their possession again. We'll see if McNamara comes out and with what kind of what that does to his psyche. I don't have him listed as a fumble. I don't have the complete stats. I'll be honest, I don't have the complete Rebel stats, only mainly the highlight stats. But I don't believe he had a fumble on the year prior to that.
Yeah, so, the star running backs, 3 fumbles today, 2 also by Conlon, although he's settled down since then.
Smock looks, throws downfield, has a wide open man, and off to the races he goes.
1 man
20,
to beat.
10, almost tripped up, but he's going to get it on one play. That's all it took for number 24, Aaron Schnell, getting that, as he only had 1 man to beat, and that was number 7, David Newark. And that was all she wrote. 1 play, Smock to Schnell for the touchdown.
Well, Schnell, wow, 67 yards there on that. Schnell's had a quiet season, but he sure came alive there.
David Dickey on to try the extra point. Just like that, it's 20-14 pending the extra point. Decatur looks to bring pressure. And the snap is up and good.
He hit it. Wow. So, yeah, Smock. Cam Smock, not a flashy quarterback, but wow, that was just a perfect throw. Schnell was wide open, and he was fairly well covered, but the defender just didn't quite have the speed to catch up. And it only takes 1 play for the for the Rebels to get the lead back after the Hawks tied it.
So it's a little bit of a back and forth game now after really the Rebels came out and had that 2-point lead early and didn't relinquish it, and all of a sudden we've had just score after score here in the second half.
Well, you were questioning what that would do to the psyche of the of the Rebels, after Decatur Central got those 2 quick touchdowns. Now you got to ask the same question about the Hawks.
Well, the way they put the points on the board, I really don't think it'll phase them too much, but that's just my personal opinion.
Probably not. So now,
Dickey on to kick it off to Jalen Miller. Jalen Miller and TJ Helm back deep to return for the Hawks.
Now watch, maybe Helm will get a kickoff return for a touchdown here. That would be appropriate the way things are going.
Helm fields it at the 5, looks to cut to the left side, gets to the 20, has wrapped up right there at the 20, got maybe to the 23 before he's brought down. So didn't bring it back for the touchdown, but decent gain either way. So we saw last time what the Hawks can do with decent field position, and that's exactly what this is.
Yeah, that's only 3 yards further back than they started last time. They started at the 26, drove 74 yards in 3 minutes and 27 seconds, culminating by Eli Conlon's first rushing touchdown. Well, first touchdown overall of the game, 17th of the season, 19th overall touchdown of the season. 5:54 to go. Hawks have just under a quarter and a half.
1st and 10, 2 receivers to the left. Tight backfield. Cameron Evans, the motion man. Handoff goes to Conlon right up the middle. Bounces off a couple tackles. He's got room to run. Gets to the 40. Still chugging on his feet. Gets to the 43 before he's finally brought down. So that was a big-time run. Called a gain of 23 for Conlon on the ground.
Yeah, 19 yards there for Conlon. He shook off those 2 first-quarter fumbles. He's settled down. He's had some nice gains, since then.
J.P. Sinclair, along with Lex Zorn, for the AudioSportsOnline.net here at Decatur Central High School. The Roncalli Rebels lead 21-14 with 5:40 left to go in the third quarter. Decatur has the ball. 1st and 10 on their own 42. 1 receiver goes wide to the right, Riker Stout. 1 to the left, that's Aaron Sandy. Tight backfield. Dakota Sidwell, the motion man. Handoff is fake to Sidwell. Tommy Stevens looks to throw. Has pressure. Rolls to the right side, looking downfield. Still nothing, and he'll just go down on the ground. There is a flag on the play, though, but it was in the area of holding, so we'll have to wait and see what the call is. But Not exactly the play the Hawks were drawing up on first down.
No, definitely. You don't want to be in any, situations where, okay, and it's going to be against the Hawks.
Indication of the flag is holding on Decatur Central.
So the call is holding on Decatur Central, so that'll move them back just a couple of yards.
The only bright spot is they don't lose the down, but they're going to have much worse field position now.
So that'll take the ball all the way back to the
just about
the 24-yard line.
Almost wiping out that entire rush by Conlon, that 19-yard rush.
I would say it's first and long, but that's an understatement.
First and 28. Coming out 10 yards on that.
Riker Stout and Aaron Sandy wide to the left. Connor Ray in the
that
slot.
Holding penalty. 10 yards from the spot of the foul.
Tommy Stevens takes the high snap, looks downfield, has pressure in his face, throws down the middle of the field, and way overthrown.
Yeah, Stevens now 8 for 13 on the game.
So that'll bring out 2nd and 28.
Stevens 9 for 14, but yeah, that one just had no chance.
Stevens has thrown the ball. We don't typically talk about Stevens' arm because he's so dangerous with his legs.
Yeah.
And just his cerebralness on, how he carries it and acts in that backfield. But he's thrown the ball really well today.
Yeah, he's completed just under 2/3 of his passes, and he's only just a little over 50% coming in tonight.
One receiver to the right, two to the left. In the shotgun is Stevens. Handoff goes Colin up the middle, and he gets swallowed right there at the line of scrimmage. That would be Nick New there on the tackle, as well as number 40, Drew Nuvimich.
Was that Conlon again?
Yes, that was Conlon on the carry. He lost a yard.
Wow.
Actually, it looks like they're going to call it back to the line of scrimmage, but it was close to losing a yard. So 3rd and 28. Tommy Stevens in the shotgun, two receivers to the left, one to the right.
Probably the best case scenario here is just to get some decent yards for your punter.
Stevens takes the high snap, looks to the right side, throws as a man diving for it. That would be number 15, Aaron Sandy, and almost gets it back to the original line of scrimmage. So it'll be 4th and 12, and that'll bring on the punt team. Tommy Stevens is the punter for Decatur Central Hawks, so keep an eye out for trickery. Saw it against Plainfield 2 weeks ago. Tommy Stevens faked it and was able to pick up the first down.
Yeah, you never know. I've seen some crazy things.
Stevens takes it, and he's going to look to throw.
Wow.
Looking, has the screen on the left side for Conlon. He's got blockers down the field, and Lucas McNeil.
Oh, my God.
And out to the 40, 45, before he's finally brought down. Great draw up there by head coach Justin Dixon. Had Stevens roll out from the punt. Looked for Conlon on the left side on the screen pass. Had Lucas McNeil down the field. Anytime you have Lucas, a 6'7", 272 senior right in front of you, if you're a running back, you like that.
Yeah, and Conlon doesn't have a lot of receptions, but when he catches the ball, he's very dangerous. And this one is going to be coming back. It's 2 holding calls against the Hawks on this possession.
So that wipes out the big-time play, and that one hurts.
Indeed it does.
So to wipe out the big gain, and it'll go back to the 31-yard line for Decatur Central.
4th and 17.
It's hard to dial up that kind of play again.
3:43 to go now.
So we'll see if they decide to punt it this time. And this time he does. Very short but high punt. Hits about the 50-yard, the 45-yard line. Takes a favorable Roncalli bounce to the 47, and that's where they'll have it coming out on offense.
Well, now the pressure goes on the Decatur Central the Decatur Central defense, because, if they go down by 2 possessions, then Roncalli will have a firm grip on this game. And I would imagine they're probably going to be fairly conservative on offense, give the ball to McNamara, try to and hope he finds some holes, although he did fumble a couple of possessions ago, leading to that fumble return by Jack Weldon for the touchdown.
3:34 left to go in the third quarter. Smock in the shotgun. 4 receivers, 2 on either side. Handoff is to McNamara. Up the middle of the field, he'll get 6 before he's brought down at the 47 of Decatur.
Yeah, it's another solid run. Keeps the clock moving. 3:20 to go now. So he takes it from. They're giving him credit for 5 on that play.
So that'll bring out 2nd and 5. Ball on the 47 of Decatur, just across the 50-yard line. 2 receivers go to the left, 2 to the right. Smock in the shotgun, joined by McNamara. Fake, Smock takes it himself, looks to cut to the right side. He's going to have blocking downfield, has the first and more. Gets to the 33-yard line before he's brought down. Great designed run there for the quarterback keeper and Cam Smock on the option.
Yeah, 14 yards by Smock on the keeper. He had a 13-yarder earlier, and he has not rushed often, but he's made his rushes count. 3 carries for 26 yards now there for Conlon.
1st and 10 for the Roncalli Rebels. This time bunch formation, jumbo formation. Smock has a man in motion, hands it off to him. That's Holdcamp. Holdcamp gets to the 30 before he's finally brought down by number 33. That would be Zach Muniz, the leading tackler for this Decatur Hawk team.
Yeah, Holtkamp, of course, is the one who had that, and they're giving him credit for 5 yards on that carry. Holtkamp had the 25-yard touchdown rush in the second quarter for the Rebels that gave them that 14-0 lead. So now 1:55 to go and counting here in the third quarter. Rebels trying to take a 2-possession lead.
2nd and 5. Smock looks to hand off. Hands off to McNamara. McNamara gets to the 22, call it the 23-yard line before he's brought down. They'll be close to the first down.
Yeah, it looks like measurement level close. Oh, they're marking it. Yeah, they are calling it a first down.
So that'll be enough to move the chains, and that'll be 1st and 10 on the 22-yard line for the Rebels.
Was that McNamara again?
Yes, it was.
Okay.
So Roncalli driving it down the field right here.
Very methodically. Yeah, they're not in a hurry. They're taking their sweet time, and they're still in the huddle. Now they line up. They very well could score a touchdown, but not until the fourth quarter at the rate they're going.
4 receiver set. Handoff goes right up the middle to Holtkamp. Holtkamp on his feet, gets to the 10, cuts it back to the left side, and he'll be in for the touchdown.
There's that 2-possession lead I talked about. David Holtkamp coming out from 23 yards here in the third quarter.
Head coach Justin Dixon on the field. He thought the ball was loose before it was ruled a touchdown. Not happy about that, but either way, it will be a touchdown for Roncalli. So it's 27-14 pending the PAT.
Yeah, David Dickey on the field again. There is Lucaeus McNeil checks into the game for the Hawks. He had a long interception return there at Lucas Oil Stadium. Justin Dixon, 25-22 in his 5th season with the Hawks, but the one blotch on his record, 0-4 in the tournament. Trying very much to change that this year. Of course, so much depends on the luck of the draw since there's no seeding.
Dickey on for the extra point. It's up and good. That makes him 4-4 on the night.
So the Rebels started the half with a 14-point lead. They lost it very quickly. Now they got it back
very quickly.
Yeah.
This game is moving. It's only 8:52, and we're almost already to the fourth quarter.
Yeah, although this second half hasn't been quite as fast as the first half was. We only had 2 scores in the first half. Now we've had 4 scores here in the this third quarter alone. So the Hawks, they certainly have the offensive power that they could come back and erase a touchdown deficit. Obviously, they did it in just a span of 2 minutes and 14 seconds in this quarter. Do they have it in them to do it again? We will find out as the Roncalli kicking team takes the field now.
It's been really and truly a back and forth game. So, just like you said, we'll see if Decatur Central has another quick run in them. Down 28-14, minute 12 left to go in the third quarter. Back deep to return the pending kickoff is Jalen Miller and TJ Helm. TJ Helm will let it bounce, barely gets in the end zone and out. Very close play.
You know, one thing I didn't even know until this year is that if the ball on the kickoff, if the ball goes into the end zone, it's an automatic touchback. You're not allowed to return it. I don't understand that.
Well, part of the scare for that one, at least, was, you know, if it rolls out before it hits the end zone, you're looking at great field position.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But if it rolls into the end zone, it is a touchback. Obviously, kickers in high school don't have the legs that a lot of NFL kickers do. But
right.
Either way, it'll be 1st and 10 on the 20 for the Decatur Central Hawks.
Although well, hold that thought until after this play.
Wide to the right, Stout in the slot is Cameron Evans. Wide to the left is Aaron Sandy. Stevens goes under center, has Conlon behind him. Surveys the defense. Gets on the pitch out. It's Conlon. Conlon tries to get on the outside corner. Doesn't get much. Maybe a yard. Call it 2 on the play, so it'll be 2nd and 8.
Yeah, Conlon he's certainly not been bad by any means today, but he just has not had that, big breakthrough that, I keep waiting to see.
Really and truly, we've only seen 2 big gains from Conlon. He had the long 10-yarder and then the 4th down trickery that got called back.
Yeah, and of course he did have the only Hawks offensive touchdown. Who would have believed first 3 quarters they'd only have 1 offensive touchdown today?
Looking.
Sandy.
Great floating pass to Sandy and drops it on the play,
so
but there is a flag
though.
on the play. So we'll see exactly what the penalty is in the area of pass interference. 22 was the defender. That is Justin Saylor, the 6', 146 sophomore. We'll see exactly what the call is.
Yeah, and the crowd here seems to think it was pass interference.
And it will be pass interference on Roncalli. So that'll be enough to move the chains. We talked about it's not the spot of the foul in high school. It's just a 15-yarder. 28-14
Sorry, go ahead.
28-14 the score. 29 seconds left to go in the third quarter. Hawks trailing. 1st and 10. Stevens goes under center. 2 receivers in tight. And with a full backfield, Stevens surveys. Dakota Sidwell, the motion man, hands off, fakes the handoff to Collins. Stevens gets it, fakes the pitch, and keeps going. Now he pitches it out to Dakota Sidwell, gets it to the 50, the 45, before he's finally brought down. That was just great trickery and awareness there by Tommy Stevens. First he faked off to Conlon, then he took it himself, and then had the trailing Dakota Sidwell for the pitch out.
Yeah, and they're at the point, especially since Roncalli's such a smart team, it's probably worth taking a chance like that. So, a very, very good play there.
We'll see if they try and get another play off. 13 seconds now on the clock. 2 receivers either side. Tommy Stevens surveys the defense, looks for the quick the quick screen on the right side to Stout, and he'll get a couple of yards, call it 5 on the carry before he's brought down. So to start the first quarter, it'll be 1st and 5 for this Decatur Hawk defense, down 2 scores. So, we've seen, we talked about it. Coming out of that locker room, Decatur Central needed to capitalize on the kickoff that they got. They did that. Then they get the defensive score from Weldon, and then they turn around, and next thing you know, they're still down 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, it's really been a game of wild momentum swings, and like I said, and I reinforce now what I said earlier, which is that whichever team loses this game is really going to be kicking itself, because they know that if they had not made 1 or 2 of the mistakes that they made, the outcome of the game very well might have been different. And it's just another, example of the importance of strong fundamentals.
Well, this is a game that has playoff implications when you look at it with sectionals looming up. You got Franklin Community next week if you're Decatur Central, and they're 5-2 on the season. So a win here would definitely help the Hawks in the long run, but they got an uphill battle for them to start the fourth quarter.
Well, they've certainly come a long way since they were 0-3. They certainly, to overcome that, win 4 in a row, you crank up your defense. That's a great accomplishment. But they don't want to have their momentum squashed here either. Even against a very solid Roncalli team.
2nd and 5. Conlon gets on the handoff. He'll get 3 or 4 before he's brought down.
But you got to take your hat off to Coach Cyphers, though. He really did come up with a darn good game plan.
Yeah, especially slowing down Conlon.
Yeah. And, even then you talk about slowing him down. He has 82 yards, but still, by his standards, that's slowing
slow.
him down. Yeah.
Average is 175 yards per game.
Yeah, so he's still not even up to half of that yet. And we're in the fourth quarter now. 11:27 to go.
So it'll be 3rd and 2 for the Decatur Central Hawks. Wide to the left, is Connor Ray. In the slot is Aaron Sandy. 2 backs in the backfield. Conlon gets on the handoff, and he'll get absolutely nothing. He got thrown back right from the line of scrimmage there. Bryce Rohrman on the tackle, the 5'11", 243-pound junior for the Rebel team. And that'll bring out 1st and 1.
So they're giving him credit for 1.
That's very generous because he got stood up at the line of scrimmage.
Well, if I were a betting man, which I'm not, I'd say they'd give it to Conlon again, but we shall see. They have several other weapons they can hit you with.
We'll see if they go for the quarterback sneak. They did that earlier on the 4th down, and it worked for them. Cameron Evans in the back.
Oh,
Tommy
they didn't
Stevens
fall for
faked it, and he is going backwards.
Devastating loss.
So you're 4th and short. You do a little bit of trickery, and you get chased down the backfield for the big-time sack, and that'll be a turnover on downs.
So that's a 7-yard loss there.
That's a very big 7-yard momentum killer.
So now the pressure is really on the Hawks defense, because if the Rebels even get a field goal on this drive, then it would be hard to imagine Decatur Central, even with this kind of offense, coming back to win. Coming back from 3 possessions down.
This is a Roncalli team that only allows 23 points per game, and when you hold Decatur thus far to less than that, that's definitely an accomplishment.
Yeah, the Hawks averaging around 55 a game, 5th in the state.
Smock fakes the play action and looks downfield, has Holtkamp, and he'll have it in at, call it the 44-yard line of Decatur Central.
Yeah, that was a 21-yard pickup there for Holtkamp. His 2nd reception of the game. The first was for -3. But I'll tell you, you can't say enough about Smock. He's had a near-perfect game. Only 7 passes, but he's completed 6 of them, including a touchdown, and then that 21 pass there to Holtkamp.
Been very efficient, Smock has on the day.
Indeed.
2 receivers to the right in the pistol formation. Handoff goes to McNamara. McNamara cuts to the left side, gets about 5 before he stood up, and call it 4, it looks like, is where they're going to mark it. Thought forward progress gave him 5, but they're going to give him 4, so it'll be 2nd and 6.
McNamara's had a fairly quiet second half after being very big in the first half. He's given away to Holtkamp a little bit here. In the last couple of quarters. And, of course, Holtkamp does have the 2 touchdown rushes of 25 and 23 yards. So 9:36 to go now. Crucial defensive possession possession or series for the Hawks.
McNamara gets on the fake. It was a fake. It fooled me. Still on his feet and going down to look to score for the touchdown is Smock.
Did he get in?
I'm going to say he had possession when he crossed it, so
yes.
That should be a touchdown. He lost it after he hit the end zone, diving in for the pylon. Give credit on that play. All the Cameron Smock fooled me out. fooled me and the Decatur Central Hawks on the faked handoff to Colin McNamara, and then just took it on the read option play all himself to the end zone.
So now Dickey going for his 5th extra point attempt of the game. 9:15 to go now. The Hawks in a deep hole. They're not out of it. But it's bleak.
Down 20 pending the extra point. And snap was bobbled, but got it down and in, did Dickey. So a 21-point game now in favor of the Rebels. And once that was an uphill battle, is now an up the mountain climb for the Decatur Central Hawks, as they are down 35-14 with 9:15 left to go.
Yeah, and, it's just been devastating that in the last 9 minutes since Decatur Central tied the game, that all of a sudden now their Rebels have exploded for 3 points, and now this is bringing back memories as a few fans start to file out here at DeVere Fair Stadium. It's bringing back memories to those first 3 games in which the Hawks were scored mightily but gave up points even more mightily. They scored 175 but gave up 191 in those first 3 games, all losses, before catching their stride and winning the last 4.
David Dickey on to kick it off. Jalen Miller and TJ Helm back deep to receive.
So let's see.
The kick is away, and it'll be fielded by Jalen Miller at the 10-yard line. Looks to cut across the middle of the field and spins out of a tackle and gets to the 20. Still on his feet, fighting for extra yard. Gets to about the 25. Still pushing all the way down to the 28-yard line.
Wow.
So Jalen Miller putting on the extra effort on the kickoff. We'll see if that gives this Decatur Hawk team some extra momentum, because they desperately need it right now.
Yeah, and certainly, even though that wasn't a huge return, I mean, certainly the competitive spirit he showed should give an example of the way that these Hawks need to play if they're going to come back and win this game. And I'll tell you, as fundamentally strong as Roncalli is, it's really hard to imagine that they would, even if the Hawks are awesome on defense the rest of the way, it's hard to imagine that the Rebels would have enough of a breakdown to lose this game. It can be done, but it's not likely.
2 receivers to the left, 1 to the right. Stevens pitches it out to Conlon. Conlon looked in, break a couple tackles, gets to the 30-yard line before he's brought down, so that'll be a gain of call out 2, and that'll bring out 2nd and 8.
And, they can, Conlon gets credit for 3 on there, and they can afford to give plenty of, 2, 3, 4, 5 yard gains to Conlon, especially as long as they keep the clock moving. 8:36 to go now. Hawks 3 touchdowns down.
Stevens takes it, gives it to Conlon, and he'll go up the middle for close to a first down. Call it a 6-yard gain, and that'll be 3rd and 1. Ball will be placed on the 37-yard line. Check that. Call that the 30. Check that. I was right. The 37-yard line. They showed 38 on the scoreboard, then made it 37. Excuse me. Stevens takes it on his quarterback keeper, and he has nowhere to go, and he's going backwards.
Oh, that's devastating.
Stevens had on the quarterback keeper and just had absolutely nowhere to go, and he got driven back with 3 defenders in his face.
I guess they figured that, even if it wasn't worth, since they need 3 touchdowns, it, wouldn't be productive just to give it to Conlon for the easy first, which he probably would have gotten. But, 7:38 to go, and it's 4th and long now.
So call it 4th and 7. Tommy Stevens will look to punt, and it looks like we're going to have a timeout on the field. Take a quick timeout as well, and then we'll bring you the rest of this game. 7:25 left to go. Roncalli leads 35-14. Decatur Central trying to claw their way back into it.
Well, I'll tell you, it'll be interesting to see what they do here. Of course, they did the fake punt earlier today, and it appeared to work, but was called back because of a penalty. But, when you're down 3 touchdowns with 7:25 to go, and you have probably not better than an average defense, if you're going to go for a fake, now's not a bad time to do it.
Well, I almost feel like you'd be better off instead of going for the fake in this situation, just trying to go for it. You're in fourth down territory anyway, 7:25 down as 21 points as you are, and you're almost into onside kickoff territory. So we'll see exactly what Justin Dixon has drawn up as they do come out in the shotgun. So it doesn't look like they're going to punt, and it looks like calling the quick timeout there was Roncalli. I think Roncalli was expecting them to come out and punt. So a little bit of back and forth between these two coaches.
Well, that reminds me of basketball when there's just a few seconds left and the offensive team calls a timeout, then sets up, and then the defensive team just sees what the setup is and then calls the timeout to adjust accordingly. So that's what that reminded me of there.
So back-to-back timeouts from either team.
Which, by the way, is illegal in the NFL. You get a penalty if you do it.
Really? I did not know that.
Yeah, it's a very extremely rare rule, but I've seen it, one or two times over the years. There are actually a few rules in the NFL that are really, like, for example, like the drop kick, which has only been used once since 1941. Doug Flutie, in a famous play in a meaningless final week game back in 05, he did a drop kick, which used to be a staple. Like, of course, it's part of the origins that the sport has in rugby.
Stevens gets it, looks them throw, looking downfield, coming back to it, and breaking
Incomplete.
up the play.
But there's a flag, though.
Getting the flag.
And that was late.
Brant Goss was the defender on that play. It looked like he had a good play on the ball. We'll see exactly what the call is. Looks like this one will be going against the Roncalli defense, but that was very close.
Yes, pass interference against Roncalli.
So that call will go against Goss, and that'll be enough to move the chains. I particularly thought Goss played that really well. He might have had his hand wrapped around the offensive player, but either way, it'll be a first down for the Decatur Central Hawks.
So good break for the Hawks. 1st and 10 at their own 45, 7:20 to go. They need 3 touchdowns.
Aaron Sandy wide to the left in the slot is Cameron Evans. Wide to the right is Stout. Stevens gets it, and with the pitch out to Conlon, and he'll get 2 yards on it. You were seeing a lot of this option play from Decatur Central. I don't know about you, but I haven't seen it a whole lot from them this year. I'm a little bit surprised they're doing it like they're doing.
Well, maybe they just figure if they give it to Conlon enough times that he's going to, eventually get that, 50 or 60-yard breakthrough. But, hold that thought.
Stevens looks to throw, and his intended receiver was Aaron Sandy, but it was knocked down. So either way, it'll be 3rd and 7 on the Decatur Central 48-yard line.
Yeah, Conlon, 21 carries, 95 yards. I believe his longest is 11. That's very unlike him. So 6:53 to go now. They need to get something going fast. 3rd and 8. The one good thing about that, incompletion is it did stop the clock, which is important at this point.
3rd and 8. This is a big play in this game. Tommy Stevens looks, surveys the field, rolls to the left, looking downfield, has his man, and that would be Aaron Sandy on the reception.
Nice catch
and
there.
Forward progress should put him close to the first down. They're going to mark it short, though.
Marking him at the 46 here, the Roncalli 46.
So it'll be 4th and inches at the 46.
So Sandy with his 4th reception of the game.
Fans here not liking that call at all. At least the call of the ball spot, if you will.
Crucial play for the Hawks.
This is really and truly, this is the game. If Decatur wants to have any hope of coming back in this game, they need this first down here.
Yeah, if they don't get this, it's hard to imagine any reasonable scenario in which they could come back.
Stevens goes under shotgun. Conlon behind him. Stout in the backfield. Stout wide to the left. Conlon goes up the middle.
He might have just gotten the first down, and that would be it.
Then they do mark it as the first down.
Wow, they give him credit for 2 yards, which I think that's generous, but nevertheless, it does keep the drive alive. 6:41 to go and counting now.
So Decatur Central now in hurry-up mode. Tommy Stevens under center. Looks, surveys the field. Looks for Aaron Sandy on the left. Doesn't find him. Looks for
Sandy open.
Sandy on the left side and just through his fingertips. unable to hook up with Aaron Sandy. Do apologize. This is my first night working the camera, so I haven't been able to keep up with it as well as I'd like.
So mine too. I take the bulk of the blame for it.
But this is this is your first game doing a video cast for the Audio Sports Online, isn't it?
Yeah, I sat in on a couple of JV games, but I had nothing to do with the camera work.
So
we're works in
we're
progress
rookies here, so we do apologize about it. We're doing our best. We'll try and get better as we go on, especially before basketball season. 35-14 is the score in favor of Roncalli. 2nd and 10. Decatur Central driving. 6:31 left to go. Tommy Stevens looks, throws to the right side, has Riker Stout for a, call it 5-yard gain on the forward progress. So it'll be 3rd and 5, ball on the 39-yard line.
6:25 to go. They're giving, looks like Stout's getting credit for 5 yards on that reception, yes.
So once again, Decatur Central facing another crucial 3rd down. They are in 4th down territory, obviously.
Stevens has completed 13 of 20 passes. 65%, but just hasn't. The Hawks simply have not made a lot of big plays. That's one of the
staples, really and truly.
Yeah.
So 3rd and 5, Stevens in shotgun. 3-receiver set, looks to the left side, has Aaron Sandy on the diving catch.
Good catch.
Beautiful catch there by Sandy, and that'll be close to the 1st down. That should be enough for the 1st down, and it will be. So that'll move the chains. Beautiful job by Sandy on the curl to come back to that ball.
Yeah, Sandy had to get down, but he did get it. Did a nice job. That's his 5th reception of the night, by the way.
Very quick play. Now Conlon going up the middle. Has room to work with. Breaking tackles all the way down to the 17-yard line. Conlon got it on the quick handoff from Stevens for the big gain.
So Conlon, 16 yards on that carry. That's his longest of the night. He goes over 100 now. He has 113 on 23 carries, but he's had to work for every one of them. Nothing's come easily for him tonight.
1st and 10. Stevens gets it, rolls to the right, looking downfield, finds Conlon in the flat, has a man in front of him. That's Lucas McNeil. Conlon, one man to beat, will get down to the 5-yard line before he's brought down. The tackle was made by Brant Gross.
So Conlon, that's his 1st reception of the game. They'll give him 13 yards.
So it'll be 1st and 5, 5:50 left to go in this 4th quarter. Very quickly, Stevens hands off to Conlon, and he'll be pushed back. He'll lose a yard on that one.
5:41 and counting to go now. Yeah, Conlon, a very good receiver coming into tonight, only 5 receptions, but for 140 yards, that's 28 yards per reception and 2 touchdowns.
He's very good at that screen, and when he has a guy like Lucas McNeil in front of him, it's definitely a load to bring down. Dakota Sidwell, the motion man. Stevens in under center. Hands off to Conlon. Conlon chugging his way forward. Looks like he got enough in. Gets it in for the touchdown. Well, no officials waved their hands yet. So, actually, they'll mark it down at the 1-yard line. Very close to the touchdown. 5 minutes left to go. 3rd and 1. And handoff once again goes to Cameron Evans, who just dives over the line like it was nothing for the touchdown.
So Cameron Evans scores his 1st touchdown of the game. It pulls the Hawks within 2 touchdowns, but it might be too little, too late. We'll see. 4:54 to go now as Abdi So comes on to attempt the extra point.
Really and truly, Evans just springboarded his way for that touchdown.
Yeah, he jumped over the line. That was a great athletic move there by Evans, who's not a small guy, weighs 212.
So on for the extra point. Kick is up and good. So 35-21 is our score. 4:54 left to go. I would assume that the Hawks would go for the onside kick.
Well, you go for the onside kick this early. 4:54 to go, down by 2 touchdowns.
With 4:54, I believe the Hawks have used 2 of their timeouts, so I believe they have 1 left. I could be wrong on that. They might have 2.
They have 2 timeouts, yeah.
I would, but that's just me personally.
Yeah, I'd say you might as well. I mean, at this point, if it doesn't work out, you have little to lose. And they tend to be an adventurous team anyway. You know, one thing, though, I really like about high school ball is that no matter how much of a blowout it is, and of course, not this isn't a blowout, but certainly the chances of Decatur Central winning this game are now very small. But
There's always that chance.
Yeah, but the point is that usually, I'd say, even in the worst blowouts, usually 80-85% of the fans for both teams stay till the bitter end, and I just think it's great that they stay around and support the kids. You know, I mean, a lot of college games at this point, 75% of the people would be gone by now.
Sorry, I laughed when you said that because, you know, I grew up in the 90s. I grew up a big Reggie Miller fan and Pacer fan, and I never left a game because I always knew Reggie Miller could make a comeback for the Pacers in any game.
Oh yeah, well of course you know when you have a guy who can score 8 points in 9 seconds, it'll do that to you.
So it looks like they're lined up, and they'll line up for the onside kickoff.
Yeah,
Roncalli not moving.
Good bounce.
And
got
it. Roncalli did not adjust at all on the play. Weldon going. He's going to score the touchdown.
Yeah, I didn't think. I know in.
They're going to call this back and say that Roncalli got the timeout in time. I don't know about that. I didn't think he had the. I know that head coach.
I knew that in college, and I think in pro you can't advance an onside kick recovery
after it's been recovered. I think that's exactly what it is. There was no timeout taken. Excuse me.
Yeah. You can't advance an onside kick recovery, or you can't advance a muff. You can't advance a fumble.
But that's a big time lapse there by Roncalli.
Yeah,
they after the lineup from Decatur Central, they did not adjust. There was only 2 or 3 players on the left side of that field when that ball was kicked.
So Jack Weldon comes up with an interception and now an onside kick recovery.
So it's 1st and 10, ball on Decatur's own Roncalli's 47. Handoff is fake to Cameron Evans. Stevens looks to throw, looks downfield, has a man wide open, and Conlon drops it.
Oh my
goodness. Conlon had it and nothing but the touchdown in front of him, and he dropped it at the 20-yard line, turning his head before he reeled it in all the way.
And that was a great call because Conlon is not a guy who normally goes deep.
That was as close as you could get to it.
You know, back in Super Bowl 13, Jackie Smith dropped a wide open pass in the end zone, and the commentator said he was the sickest man in America. I think Conlon must be, pretty sick right now because, he had that one.
That was wide open.
Perfectly thrown.
35-21 is the score. Roncalli leads, 4:41 left to go. 2nd and 10, ball on their own 47. Stevens looks to possibly change the play. He's got Aaron Sandy to the left, Riker Stout wide to the right, Conlon behind him, as well as 2 other running backs. Looks to throw. Pressure coming. Rolls to the right. Still looking. Stevens going to run now. He gets to the.
He's got some room on the left.
Trying to get to. Oh, great block. Spin move by Stevens. Gets to the 20, and he'll be pushed down to call it the 22. That was just a great block. I couldn't see. I didn't get the license plate on that. I believe that was Conlon, but I could be wrong. But either way, give credit
22
to
yards there. 22 yards by Stevens on the keeper.
That was a beautiful run by Stevens on the spin move and getting the block. I think that was Sandy, but I could be wrong. Might have been Conlon, but either way, it's a beautiful block midfield.
And he got out of bounds too. So, moved to the chains and stopped the clock.
4:30 left to go. 1st and 10. Ball on the 24-yard line for the Decatur Central Hawks.
So the people who left early are missing out.
Pitch out. Goes to Conlon. Conlon's got blockers in front of him. Gets to the 10 before he's finally pushed out. Pushed out that time by number 24, Aaron Schnell.
Conlon finally starting to find his groove here. 14 yards by Conlon.
So that's good enough for a 1st down, and it'll be 1st and goal on the 10-yard line. 4:25 left to go. Decatur trying to work their way back into this game.
Well, I'll tell you, if they get, especially if they score within the next minute or so, then they, with 2 timeouts left, and if they have, 3.5 minutes or more, then all they'll need is just a 3 and out. They'll just need their defense to step up for one possession and then give the offense a chance to win it.
Sandy wide to the left, Stout wide to the right. Motion man is Dakota Sidwell. Handoff is fake to Conlon, and flushed out of the pocket. Stevens has nowhere to go. He's got to get rid of it and make a play. Going forward, still on his feet, gets to the 9-yard line or close to the original line of scrimmage. Great run by Tommy Stevens. Looked to have absolutely nothing ahead of him, but was able to work it at least back to the line of scrimmage. And we're going to say, I'll say he got 2 on the play.
Yeah, he did. He got 2. So that'll give, of course, that was his second really long, scramble for a short gain. He had that 6-yard rush there after running about 70 around in a loop in the first half. 3:49 to go and counting.
He ran around 465 on that one play.
Yeah.
Stevens goes under center. Wide to the left is Aaron Sandy. Wide to the right is Riker Stout. Stevens looks, lobs it up for Stout, and they're unable to hook up. So I'll bring out 3rd and 8.
Well, it does stop the clock at least. 3:35 to go. 3rd and goal at the 8. So, yeah, it's been a barn burner of a game. And, last year the average margin of victory in an Indiana high school football game was 23 points. You don't see a lot of close games. But, this one has been... this looks like this one might be, a one-possession game tonight at the rate we're going.
Stevens under center, 2 receivers to the right. Dakota Sidwell, the motion man. He fakes the handoff to Sidwell, looks to the right side, looks for Stout, throws it up there.
Did he get it? No.
Coming from the back corner, I didn't even see him until it was almost over, was Aaron Sandy. I'm not sure if the play was intended for Sandy, but either way, he had a play on it. But I'll bring out 4th and 8.
4th and goal at the 8, 3:29 to go.
Really and truly, this play is where this game will either be get closer to winning for Decatur Central, or you'll lose it here.
Yep. Roncalli fans going crazy. Cheering on their defense.
Decatur Central's own crowd getting into it, clapping. Stevens under center. Conlon behind him. Sandy to the left, Stout to the right. Motion man Dakota Sidwell. Sidwell is faked with the handoff. Stevens looks downfield, and he's going to get wrapped up at the 19, and he'll be down for the sack. Great penetration there. That was Evan Cahill, the 6'2", 215 center for the Rebels, getting great penetration and bringing down Stevens in the backfield.
And that's another issue they're going to have to address, because there were 3 or 4 times in this game in which a promising Decatur Central drive was killed because
of an untimely sack.
Yeah. That's one of several things on which this game is hinged.
So it'll be 1st and 10 for the Roncalli Rebels as they'll try and drain this clock.
But if Conlon had made that reception, though, it might be a different story.
That was one of the big time. He had nothing. It was a touchdown. You reel that in, it's a touchdown.
Yeah.
So he'll give to McNamara in the backfield, and he'll get stood up. Gets maybe back to the line of scrimmage. So that'll be a no-gainer. 2nd and 10. The clock continues to tick. Gets close to the 3-minute mark. 35-21 is our score at Decatur Central High School. I'm J.P. Sinclair, along with
Lex Zorn.
Thank you. It's our first game together, so.
Yep, we'll get it.
So 2nd and 10 for the Rebels. Smock in the pistol formation, running back behind him, 2 receivers to the left. Draining as much clock as he can. Now the handoff goes to McNamara. McNamara ahead maybe for 2 yards. Call it 3.
And I think the Hawks have just taken their second time out.
Correct. So it'll bring out 3rd and long. So,
So 3-yard rush by McNamara. So now the Hawks will, it's a crucial play for the Hawks defense. If they can, especially if they induce the, now if I were Roncalli, I'd just do a rushing play and make them use their last time out if you don't get the first down. Because then you can punt away, and that still puts them in the burden of scoring 2 touchdowns inside 3 minutes, and that's not likely even for a great offensive team.
Especially without the timeouts.
Right? Yeah. Because when you don't have your timeouts late in the game, it really limits your options. It makes your your offensive, your rushing offense a lot less of an option. You've got to, a lot of the time either pass near the sideline or maybe take a chance of trying to get a throw up the middle, get the, try to get a play called so that you can snap the ball immediately when the clock starts moving again after they've moved the chains.
So it'll be 3rd and 7 on the Rebel-owned 23-yard line.
So now
Rebels come out in pretty much a jumbo formation.
Crucial play. The main thing for Roncalli at this point is just no mistakes.
Handoff is faked, and it'll be an end-around play.
But
room to run and getting the first down, and then some is...
He's going all the way.
All the way is Holtkamp. 30, 20, 10, 5, and in for Holtkamp. That was a beautiful play call there by the Roncalli Rebels.
77 yards by David Holtkamp, and that seals the deal.
You and I both expected just a simple run up the middle from McNamara to keep the clock moving, and on that end-around play to Holtkamp, that was absolutely gorgeous and getting all the way in for the touchdown.
We talked about, early after his first run, when he took it to 34 yards, we wondered why he doesn't get more carries. Well, he has 6 carries, only 6 carries tonight, 165 yards. That's 27.5 a carry.
Those are some big-time numbers from Holtkamp. Also does the return duties and also leads this Rebel team in reception. So 6 foot 193 senior getting the job done today. And that kick is actually no good, missing the kick.
Yeah, it was. I think it was partially blocked.
So either way, it's a 20-point game. 41-21 is the score. 2:22 left to go.
So Dickey misses his first extra point after 5 makes tonight.
I believe, is that his first miss on the year?
Yeah. And another thing to put Holt's dominance into perspective, only 6 carries but 3 touchdowns. And they were from 25-23 and now 77 yards for the Rebels. As the Hawks' 4-game winning streak about to come to an end, they will drop to 4-4, and they will try to beat Franklin right here next week and salvage a winning regular season and get some momentum back as they head into the playoffs.
So down 20, 2:22 left to go. Decatur Central set to receive.
And, of course, like I said, there is a possibility that they could be playing, unlike most of the teams in Class 5A, there's a chance that the Hawks could be playing 2 weeks from tonight since they're in a 5-team sectional in which 2 teams will not get that first-round bye.
I believe when I checked earlier, they were 3rd in their section. We'll see exactly where that stands tonight.
Are they seeding to see who gets the bye?
Yes.
Okay, I did not know that, okay.
Dickey's kick is going to be fielded at about the 15 by Helm. Helm cuts it to the outside, gets to the 30 before he's brought down. So that's where Decatur Central will start this drive. I would assume it'd be the last one. We'll see exactly how they go about their business.
Now, are they seeding the entire sectionals or just to determine who gets the byes?
Let me double check. I believe it's just to get the byes.
Because they haven't done seeding in the past. Like last year, you had 3.
It's the pairings. The pairings will be announced this Sunday night. So it'll be the pairings. The pairings is what's going on this upcoming Sunday.
Right. But I was just wondering if there's seeding involved in determining the rest of the who plays whom.
Looking downfield, Stout is the recipient of the pass, and that'll be a first down for Decatur. Still down 20. Let's see. The 41st annual state presented by the Indianapolis Colts is less than 3 weeks away. Pairings will be announced this Sunday night. The tournament begins Friday, October 25th. Believe. Let me double check one other thing. As Conlon gets it on the carry, he'll get 2 or 3 on the play, so it'll be 2nd and 8.
So Tommy Stevens there on the keeper. They give him credit for 2 yards. 1:49 to go here and counting. Stevens looks
to throw, finds Connor Ray on the the left side, and he'll be pushed out about the 45. Be close enough for the first down. Actually, they're going to spot that a little bit short, so it'll be 3rd and 2.
So it'll be a 7-yard gain there. 7 yards there on the 7 yards on that reception by Ray. 1:39 to go. Hawks trying to cut into this 20-point lead in the last 1:39.
Conlon gets on the handoff, and he'll be stood up. He got enough for the first down, though.
He did get the first down.
So that'll be enough for a first down to move the chains. 1:35 left to go. Hawks down 20.
So that will stop the clock at least long enough to move the chains. And they give Conlon credit for I believe, a 2-yard gain. He just needed one, and we've got a whistle here, 1:29 to go.
It will be an equipment timeout, and he'll come out. That was number 41, which is Nick New, and he'll be replaced by number 55, Brian Sullivan. Stevens in the shotgun, looks, and he'll pitch it back to Dakota Sidwell. He gets a big time
He's got
block
some room.
from Lucas McNeil. Has room to run. Gets to the 30 before he fakes going out of bounds, and he'll get to the 25 before he's actually brought out.
Yeah, Sidwell, amazingly, only his third carry of the game. They'll give him credit for 20 yards on that play. Only 3 carries, 49 yards. But the need to rely on passing is one reason why Dakota Sidwell has not been as much of a factor tonight. And that's hurt the team for sure.
So 1st and 10, Stevens looks to throw, has Stout, check that, that's Sandy. And
We got a
Ford
flag.
was down, but Ford progress looks to be about the 20-yard line.
Yeah.
See what the flag is.
Okay. Face mask, okay.
So it'll be a face mask on the Roncalli Rebels. So that'll add a little bit more to that.
So that'll be 15 yards there. So that will be full at 15 to the... Okay, here we go. So 1st and goal at the 9 now. So the Hawks will get at least one more chance to score.
Stevens looks to throw, looks to the right side, can't find anything. And he gets out of a shoestring sack, looking downfield, looking over the top, and...
Did he get it?
Oh, I don't think he got it. I don't think he was able to stay in bounds.
Yes!
Oh, they actually are going to call that inbounds. Beautiful tiptoeing play there by Tommy Stevens to Aaron Sandy. So check that. That's Riker Stout on that reception.
Yeah, that's Stout's. Stout is the team's leading receiver. That's 50. Comes with 50.6 seconds left. That gives Stout an even 100 yards receiving.
I do apologize. I know I read somewhere what the actual breakdown if the playoffs started today. Can't remember if it was Max Preps or one of the other websites I used to prepare for the games, but I can't find it on short notice. But it's 41-27, so on to try the extra point. It is up and good. 50 seconds left to go. Decatur trails now 41-28. Game, by all accounts and purposes, still out of reach for the Decatur Central Hawks, but still fighting and clawing their way back into it. You have to like the effort.
Yeah, you do. It's just a game of mental mistakes, and I'll tell you, keep in mind one stat I gave you before the game. I mentioned that in the 3 season opening losses, that Tommy Stevens threw an average of 23 passes a game, and then in the 4 subsequent wins, he threw an average of 10.5 passes a game. Well, tonight Tommy Stevens has thrown 28 passes. And that really says it all. That's what happens when the Hawks have to play from behind like they did the first 3 weeks, as opposed to when they play from ahead like the last 4, and that just makes all the difference in the way this offense functions.
Well, I mean, you have to give credit to Bruce Skives. It came out, had the game plan to slow Eli Conlon down, which is something a lot of teams have not been able to do here against the Hawks this season. But came in, was able to slow Conlon down. It didn't help when Conlon had the 2 fumbles, but either way, give full credit to this Roncalli coaching staff.
Yeah. I mean, there were some mental mistakes, like you mentioned, those 2 uncharacteristic Eli Conlon fumbles. But I hold that thought until after another onside kick by So. Good bounce. Oh, it hit the man before the ball went the 10 yards.
Flags are down, so it didn't get the full 10 yards, but I'll tell you what, So's got he knows how to kick the onside kickoff. He's kicked 2 beautiful onsiders.
Yeah, that last one, as soon as I saw the first bounce, I knew the Hawks had a chance at it, and of course Jack Weldon did a super job just getting in there and making the grab. Unfortunately, it was for naught as they ended up turning the ball over on downs.
No flag on the play. Roncalli ball at the 50-yard line.
Okay, I guess they have the option then of just taking it if it doesn't, if they touch it before it goes to the 10. Or maybe taking it at the spot where it was.
So the onside kick off did not go 10 yards, so it'll be Roncalli ball on the Decatur 49-yard line with 50 seconds left to go, and that will pretty much do it.
Yeah, there was just 1 or 2 kneel downs by Smock. The Hawks do have 1 timeout.
They come out in victory formation. I doubt head coach Justin Dixon takes their final timeout.
Probably not. Okay, so Smock kneels down. He'll only have to do it at most 1 more time. So 37 seconds and counting.
So they will have to do it 1 more time because the play clock is a little bit lower than the game clock. And that'll pretty much do it as 1 more kneel down upcoming.
That's it.
And there it goes. So the final score tonight is going to be 41-28 in favor of the Roncalli Rebels. Go through the postgame really quick. To recap the scene for you, Decatur got themselves in the hole early, was able to dig themselves back out of it around the half, and then it was pretty much all Roncalli from there.
Yeah, and it's like I said in the keys to the game, the important thing for the Hawks was not to have to play from behind. As it turned out, they got behind late in the first quarter, stayed from behind, and then when they, well into the third quarter, then when they finally tied it on the first play from scrimmage on the ensuing drive, the Rebels took the lead again, and they never relented the rest of the way and forced the Hawks to play catch up. Like I said, Tommy Stevens now averaging 10 passes a game in the Hawks wins, and now about 25 in their losses, and that it's a huge difference.
And there was a lot of mental errors in this game. You don't want to get too high or too low on any one player, but Eli Conlon had a tough game. Yes, he got the runs, on the ground, but the 2 fumbles hurts, and then the wide open reception that you weren't able to haul in. Okay. That really hurts going down the field.
And we just actually were handed an iPhone, which I'll take to the lost and found.
I'll give it over to the PA announcer.
Okay, that's a good idea.
If you would like to talk about Conlon a little bit,
yeah,
what his play meant today.
Well, Eli Conlon, certainly the star of this offense, a solid Division I college prospect, and he wasn't bad, but the Rebels, they didn't stop him, but they contained him. He did gain 127 yards, but that was on 26 carries. He averages nearly 10 yards a carry on the season, a little less than 5 tonight. So they held him to less than half his average per rush. And what they did basically was, clamped down on him and made sure that he didn't go crazy and break through for any 50 or 60-yard gains like he's been doing all season.
And we've given the credit to Bruce Skipes for that. Really came in with a great game plan to slow down Conlon.
That's what you'd expect for a coach, who has as many state championships as he does. Of course, Roncalli has won 8 state championships, and Cyphers, I believe,
got 6 of them.
Yeah, including for when that awesome run they made from 2002 to 2005. They made the state championship game every year, won it the middle 2 years. So, like I said, he's a living legend and certainly, will be a Hall of Famer in Indiana sports.
Yeah, I believe he's the 9th most active coach as far as win totals goes in the state of Indiana.
I wouldn't doubt that at all. Yeah, I don't have the list in front of me, but I'm sure he's way up there. But anyway, a quick scoring recap.
Yeah, he's 9th among winningest active coaches with his record. He's right behind John Broughton of Pendleton Heights.
And special thanks, by the way, to Rob Brown of the Roncalli Athletic Department, who's been extremely helpful this week. A lot of people in the athletic departments are helpful to us, but Rob Brown more than any other I've ever worked with. So big shout out to Rob if you're listening.
Yes, actually, Rob's right behind you.
Oh, okay. Well,
he's the play-by-play guy up there. He's definitely helped me.
Okay, well, I'll make sure I go over and say hi to him after the game, after the broadcast then. But anyway, recapping the scoring. The Rebels scored first with 9/10 of a second remaining in the first quarter on a 3-yard rush by Colin McNamara. David Dickey hit the extra point to make it 7-0. Then with 4:06 to go in the second quarter, David Holtkamp scored his first touchdown on a 25-yard rush, making it 14-0 with the extra point. The Hawks scored for the first time on the first possession of the third quarter on Eli Conlon's only touchdown of the game on a 2-yard rush. Abdi So hit the extra point to make it 14-7. Then on Roncalli's ensuing possession, a fumble by Colin McNamara resulted in a 61-yard fumble return for a touchdown by Jack Weldon. So tied it with the extra point. But then the Rebels jumped all over the Hawks for 3 touchdowns in the next 9 minutes. On the first play of the ensuing drive, Cam Schock threw 67 yards to Aaron Schnell for the only passing touchdown of the game for the Rebels. Dickey made it 21-14 with the extra point. Then with 1:12 to go in the quarter, Holtkamp scored his second touchdown on a 23-yard rush. Dickey's extra point made it 28-14. And finally, Smock scored his only rushing touchdown of the game on a 33-yard rush with 9:15 to go in the fourth quarter. Dickey made it 35-14 with the extra point. The Hawks threatened to get back into it on a 1-yard leap over the line by Cameron Evans.
That was a beautiful play.
Oh, yeah, definitely highlight reel worthy. With 4:54 to go in the game, So made it 35-14, and then an perfect onside kick was recovered by Weldon, and the Hawks got it down as far as the 8 where they turned it over on downs, but it should be noted that a long pass intended for Eli Conlon was dropped at about the 15. Conlon had it in his hands. He just didn't get the grip on it. And then on the ensuing possession, David Holtkamp took it in for his third touchdown of the game from 77 yards out. This time, Dickey's kick was blocked, making him 5 for 6 on the game. And finally, with 50.6 seconds left, Riker Stout scored the only receiving touchdown of the game for the Hawks, 9 yards from Tommy Stevens. So's extra point gave us our final score of 41-28. The onside kick failed, and the Rebels ran out the clock. For individual statistics, first for the victorious Roncalli Rebels, Cam Smock was 6 for 7 for 179 yards, 1 touchdown and 1 interception. For receiving, Aaron Schnell caught 2 passes for 73 yards. David Holtkamp 2 for 18. Colin McNamara 1 for 18, and David Schott 1 for 10. On rushing, Cam McNamara led the way, 16 carries for 92 yards. Smock was 6 for 57. Holtkamp led the way in rushing yards. He had 6 for 165, including those 3 touchdowns. So the only 3 players rushed for the Rebels, but they went for 165, 92, and 57. So now for your Decatur Central Hawks, Tommy Stevens had an up and down game. He completed 18 of 28 passes for 213 yards and 1 touchdown, but he was forced to go to the air a lot more than the Hawks would have liked. Receiving, Riker Stout had 9 receptions for 100 yards and a touchdown. Aaron Sandy, 5 receptions for 40 yards. Connor Ray, 2 for 28. Cameron Evans, 1 for 26, and Eli Conlon, 1 for 13. Finally, rushing, Eli Conlon, 26 carries for 127 yards. That's very good by most standards, but once again, Conlon, under 5 yards a carry. He's close to 10 a carry on the season, so very good job containing him by the Rebels. Other than that, Tommy Stevens rushed 12 times for 44 yards. Evans, 9 for 30, including 1 touchdown, and Dakota Sidwell, 3 for 49.
Thank you for that, Lex. if you had to give a player of the game, I'm a big fan of player of the game.
Yeah.
If you're the Decatur Central Hawks, who's your player of the game?
Well, for Decatur Central, really, I would have to say Riker Stout. He was quietly efficient out there. He made 9 receptions for 100 yards, got that touchdown on that beautiful catch there near the sideline where he did a great job, staying in bounds and, when he had very little room to maneuver to make the catch and get in. Tommy Stevens was solid. He didn't make any serious mistakes. He did complete over half of his passes and, like I said, 213 yards. But like I said, he went to the air a lot more than he should have had to. And and then Conlon, he was solid. I mean, most players, they go 26 for 127. They had a good game. Conlon, it just,
So really the three-headed monster for you.
Yeah. But, yeah, I would say Riker Stout would be my player of the game. And then
I'll give mine to Jack Weldon. I think he played an excellent game. He had the 1 interception early that made it, as bad as it looked early for the Decatur Central Hawks. And then, of course, the big onside kickoff that he received. I'm going to give it to Jack Weldon.
Yeah, and certainly you can make a case for either player that they both played well. And, Weldon has really come through. He had an interception return for a touchdown 3 or 4 games ago. I think it was at Mooresville. And he's just always there to make a big play or make a stop when you need it. And then, of course, obviously, for Roncalli, I know this is a Decatur Central broadcast, but it would be very easy to pick the player of the game for Roncalli. It would be David Holtkamp. Only 6 carries, 165 yards, 3 touchdowns, leading to the question, why doesn't he get the ball more?
We're gonna have to ask Rob Brown about that after this one because I thought he was absolutely outstanding, both receiving and when he got the ball from the backfield in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah. So if there were any college scouts here to see Conlon, which I assume there were, we had I think 7 Division I scouts at Mooresville 3 weeks ago in the rain.
I don't think anybody would. Never mind. I was going to make fun of Mooresville a little bit more, but they're on themselves, I'm sure.
They are rebuilding, like I said. And I wish Chad Doggery the best. He's doing a good job. For a program that's been down for quite a few years now, after being very good for much of the first decade of this millennium. But anyway, David Holtkamp, he's a senior, 6'1", 193. So I bet he'll be playing on Saturdays a year from now. But anyway, for the Hawks, their 4-game winning streak is over. Nevertheless, I mean, if you would have known after that 0-3 start, the way they were giving up points, that they would be 4-4 at this point in the season, I'm sure the Hawks would have taken it.
Oh yeah, I remember the first game. Let's see, the first Perry Meridian game. I was just
that was week 2. That was just 6 weeks ago.
Yeah, I was just absolutely impressed. That was the first time I got to see this Decatur Central Hawk team, and you gave up 86 points, but look how many points you hung up on the board, which was impressive in and of itself. But their defense has come so far.
Oh yeah. I mean, they had the week after their 0-3 start over at Lucas Oil Stadium, they had 2 interceptions returned for touchdowns, and that was against Mason Cutler from Martinsville, who's a very, very strong college prospect, probably one of the top 3 or 4 quarterbacks in the state right now.
Okay, well, let's take a look ahead for at the next upcoming games. For this Decatur Central team, they'll be back in action against the Franklin Community Grizzly Cubs. They were 5-2 on the year coming into tonight, and they feature one of the better defenses, not just in the Mid-State Conference, but also in the state.
Yeah, and not only that, but I called Franklin last week in Week 7 when they hosted Plainfield.
Yeah, they were at Plainfield last week.
Yeah, and they were not a good team, but the one saving grace, the one thing that kept them from being really bad last year. They were 3-7 last year, but their 3 wins came against really bad teams also. But the thing that kept them, even competitive was that they had 2 great junior running backs. And I figured, this year, I don't remember their names, but I figured, this year when those guys were seniors, the Grizzly Cubs would be one of the most improved teams in Central Indiana, and that's what's happened. So it's not going to be any cakewalk next week.
Yeah, I mean, the Grizzly Cubs forced 3 turnovers last week against Plainfield. Of course, we'll have that game for you on audiosportsonline.net starting at about 6:45 on October 18th. It will be senior night. It is here at Decatur Central High School. It will be senior night, and I guess they're also going for the whiteout effect, so they're hoping everyone wears white for that game.
Yeah, and it'll be great. It's great to see that kind of spirit, and I always enjoy when teams at all levels do things like that to, establish just to show their unity. And of course, it'll be a very emotional game, the last home game for Eli Conlon. What a great career he's had. And quite a few of the other players on this team are seniors as well. Jack Weldon's a senior. Abdi Sal, the kicker. And, of course, they do return a lot of great guys next year. Tommy Stevens and Dakota Sidwell are juniors, so it's not like they're going to completely fall apart after these guys graduate. But certainly I know they're going to want to send out Eli and some of the other seniors out with the send-off win. And not only that, but get their momentum back as they head into the playoffs.
And for Roncalli, they head home to host East Central. The Trojans entered tonight's action with a 3-4 record. They haven't had a losing season since 1990, but they're well on their way to doing that this year for East Central.
Yeah, it's been an incredible run that they've had. But it runs out for everybody at some point. I mean, one thing I've learned from watching sports for 35 years: nobody at any level is immortal, and so you just hope to see them bounce back. And I know that I remember when Prairie View A&M had their 80 consecutive losses. I mean, they were the butt of a lot of jokes, but when I see high school teams really struggle, like Mooresville or especially like Harrison, I just really feel bad for the kids. I mean, is there something different about high school kids versus college kids? Seeing them lose, and I hate to see kids at the high school level, fall in hard times. But of course, obviously East Central, they've done a lot of great things, and they're having a down year, but I think they'll be back soon. And even Mooresville, when I commentated them 3 weeks ago, as many big plays as they gave up, I did see some talent that just needs to be developed. Those guys need a couple of years to gel, and they got a lot of young players with some potential there, though.
Well, it'll be talking about gelling. That Franklin Community Grizzly Cubs has the first year for head coach. They looked really good against Plainfield. I haven't checked the score for them since the halftime for earlier tonight, but either way, we'll have that for you next week. This has been the postgame show on audiosportsonline.com. I want to thank you for joining us tonight. It's certainly been our pleasure to be invited into your Friday night. Thank you to Decatur Central High School and Athletic Director Kelly McWilliams for hosting us here tonight. Again, the final score in favor of the Roncalli Rebels, 41-28 over the Decatur Central Hawks. Decatur Central back in action next Friday night at 7 p.m. against Franklin Community. For Lex Zorn, I'm J.P. Sinclair. Have a good night.
Good night.